Sports 56 Middays is delivered by FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to learn how FedEx can help your business thrive online. The first hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by Action247.com. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I got a piece of land out in the countryside. Lay back and smell the sun. Warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends that live.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome into a new week of Sports 56 Middays, live from the Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road. That is just north of I-40. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn with you on this beautiful Monday, October 5th, 2020. As we always talk about every year that we have had this show, October is simply the best month. Sports-wise, weather-wise, it's delightful. Not to mention birthdays coming up, including my partner Eli Savoy's birthday, I believe, tomorrow. So make sure you send in presents and cards and all that good stuff. But we got a packed show, as we always do, especially on a Monday during the fall with football in full blossom. Although, again, it's an abbreviated schedule without the Big Ten or the Pac-12 and a couple of other conferences. But enough action over the weekend to talk about. We will do so with Barrett Sallee, who joins us every Monday from CBS Sports. He'll join us at 11:05. We'll look back at the Tigers' loss in Dallas against SMU. The Hogs pick up a rare SEC win. Ole Miss gets their first win under Lane Kiffin. And what happened to Mississippi State in that game against Arkansas? We'll look at the SEC. We'll look at the college football world nationally with some surprises. Once again, the Big 12, the focal point, the center point with some surprises. We'll talk NFL, and we have a doubleheader tonight with Monday Night Football. Scheduling adjustments. They will get that New England-Kansas City game in before the regularly scheduled game between Green Bay and Atlanta, so a double dose of Monday Night Football. The NBA Final is now a series after the Miami Heat knock off the Los Angeles Lakers to cut that deficit in half, 2-1. We will discuss that. The Major League Baseball playoffs resume today as the American League Divisional Series begins today. So we'll have 2 games, and then the National League will jump in tomorrow. Our 5 favorite songs topic today is the word girl. Make sure the word girl is in the title of your song. You can text in at 67129. First Bank text line. Text in anytime. We'll do this at about 12:05. You can also, if you are watching us live, message us with those lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Want to mention certainly that one of our great sponsors is Action247.com. They are the first hour sponsor of Sports 56 Middays. We welcome you to be a part of the show with your texts and your phone calls at 360-8255. First Bank phone lines are open. Mr. Savoy, how are you?
I've been better.
Uh-oh. You got a birthday tomorrow, though.
I do have a birthday tomorrow.
Do you still enjoy celebrating the birthday, or have you gotten to the point like me, just pass over it, just move on?
There really wasn't a point in my life generally that I really enjoyed birthdays.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
21st was probably the only one. 16th and 21st were only 2 I ever really cared about. But I've never, I didn't have, when I was a kid, we didn't do the big birthday parties, all that stuff. Birthdays have never been a big deal.
Well, you have so many siblings that mom and dad would go bankrupt if they had big deals for every birthday.
We didn't do big birthday celebrations, big parties, all that stuff. It was just kind of a, mom would make a cake, put some candles on it, we blew them out, and everybody moved along with their life.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, weekend the weekend not exactly a banner weekend for me.
Do you want to discuss here? It's just you and me and Gabe.
Well, I mean, it's rather obvious. The Cubs are a disaster of an offense, which I said they were, but they lived up to everything I said. And the Cowboys are a disaster of a defense, which is when you said the other day that you expected a couple of interceptions from the Cowboys defense. I said, if you're expecting the Cowboys defense to make plays, you're going to be waiting a long, long time.
Yeah, I can say now that I do understand your issues with the weekend. I didn't even think about that right off the top of my head. I was thinking more or less something physically or something happened with your health or you're feeling down or something mentally, but you're feeling down because of what happened in the sports world. But yeah, and I think Tigers fans are also feeling down today after their team returned to action after a month and lost the game at SMU, but not so much that they lost the game. It's the way they got out, the start they got out to, which was not surprising. To fall behind the way they did 24-3 at SMU, having not played in a month, the rust showed. But then they storm back, and you think they have all the momentum. SMU loses their key offensive player in Reggie Robertson Jr., who was incredible. They had lost one of their stud running backs early in the game, and Memphis had the football with a chance to go down the field and win it with a field goal or a touchdown, and a big turnover by the veteran quarterback Brady White, who had 2 interceptions, and a fumble, did them in. SMU methodically went down the other way, got the field goal, got the game winner with seconds to go. And if you're a Tigers fan, and you're a Tiger player, of course, or part of that program, it's tough to swallow because the way you came back and put yourself in position. If you were bad throughout that game, I guess, even though they don't make excuses, some people can make excuses that it was the layoff, the rust, and you chalk it up to that, and you move on. You get ready to play UCF a week from this Saturday. But they battled back, and they were in great position. And to lose it that way is very disheartening.
Yeah, I mean, it when that first quarter happened, you thought, oh, goodness gracious, this could get really, really ugly. But you got to give them credit for kind of figuring out that second quarter was really impressive. Offensively, really just did whatever they wanted in the second quarter. I still can't. The second half of that game to me is just, I still can't quite figure out what the heck. I would have never guessed that at halftime that the final score of that game was going to be 30-27. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought it was going to be 52-48. I mean, I didn't know what was going to, because there was just no signs of either defense being able to stop the other, really. And then the second half, it was a struggle offensively. And yeah, it's really unfortunate. You get the ball in that situation late. That's kind of what you're hoping for. You've got the ball in your hands, chance to go win the game. And Brady White got it. You got to protect the football. That's the one thing you cannot do there is let somebody knock that football away. You have to. It has to be ultimate protection, making sure that nobody's going to get that, and it's a costly turnover.
Going back to what you were just talking about, expecting the fireworks to continue in the second half after that big second quarter, and it just did not materialize. Mike McIntyre's defense, very similar to Arkansas State in game number 1. They got out to a slow start. They adjusted. They figured out what they needed to do, and they got stingier as the game went along. This defense, against a very good rush attack from SMU, stymied that running game. They made SMU one-dimensional. So I give a lot of credit to that front line, that defensive line, and those linebackers. They absolutely stuffed the running game. The problem was with the passing game. And that got better also later in the game when Robertson went out, unfortunately, for SMU, because he was an absolute stud, best player on the field. They were giving him so much cushion. He would make a little juke, and he would be wide open. But, again, I give the defense credit for adjusting and being able to stymie the running game. Now, for the Memphis offense, I like Zeke Clark. I really think this kid is going to be another good one in the long line of running backs. There were times when I thought Kylan Watkins, who had the one big run, would just kind of dance a little bit, trying to go to the hole. And I know they would like to use him more or less like they used Pollard and maybe even Antonio Gibson. But he was running the ball right up the middle a few times there late in that fourth quarter that I didn't get it. I thought for a while there Rodriguez-Clark was hurt. But then he wasn't. He came back into the game late. But other than that, Brady White, who has done a lot of good things. So you're not going to hear it coming out of my mouth to complain about this guy, because this guy has been incredible. But that was not a good game. I mean, he ends up with pretty good numbers, 29 of 42 for 380 and 3 touchdowns. But he threw 2 picks. The second pick was definitely his fault. He didn't see the linebacker drop back in coverage, and that was second half. And then the fumble. Like you said, Eli, you can't turn the ball over. You're in position. Now, people will argue, well, why are they trying to throw the ball? Because it's still a really long field goal attempt if they don't get much more yardage after that for Riley Patterson.
And
right?
if you can't trust your seventh-year senior quarterback in that situation not to turn the ball over, then I don't know what you're doing at practice. I don't know what you're screwing into his head.
Absolutely.
Because it's tough because I think the pressure got to him there, and I think the O-line, namely the left guard, had trouble, and he sort of got bull rushed back there, and Riley tried to step up. It was a 5-man rush. So
Brady tried to step up.
Brady. thinking my quarterback. Brady tried to step up and then just got stripped. But in that situation, I'd rather you take a sack than give up that ball because SMU only has 20, 25 yards, 30 yards to go get into field goal range. They're going to go do it at that point in the game.
Yeah, I mean, he stepped up like he's supposed to do. And as you said, the left guard was kind of bull rushed, although it was 5-on-5, and I thought Memphis did a pretty good job protecting and giving Brady White some time to make some throws throughout the game. But when he stepped up, he has the ball in the one hand, and it hits somebody's back, and it just falls out of his hand. It wasn't good security. And that was the game. And for all intents and purposes, that was the game. Again, for people that argue, well, why didn't they run the ball? I mean, you want to make that argument? You certainly can, but I think they were still on the fringe of Patterson's range. Even though we know how far he can boot a field goal, he already did one in the game earlier with the pressure to win the game. You want to get some more yardage there.
Right there, that's a 56, 57-yard field goal. They're on the 39. You don't want to have to force him to kick that far in that situation, although he might be able to. So I don't have any problem with him going after another first down. I would have liked to see Rodriguez-Clark run the ball a couple more times there in that drive in general, but he was in and out all day. I didn't really understand what was going on, if he's hurt, if he's banged up.
Well, again, the whole month layoff.
You.
Yeah, but maybe the month layoff, the thought was we got to keep him fresh, so we got to keep bringing in different running backs. They would bring in Marquavius Weaver, who ran pretty hard, I thought, the few times he was in there. Asa Martin didn't play much, but he did play to give guys spells, so maybe that was the thought process. But he looks like he's your bell cow, and if he is, then he needs to be in there. But who am I to argue? Look, they put themselves in position to win the game. They just didn't get it done.
Well, and that, I mean, the thing is, it goes back to what Gabe said. I mean, you've got the ultimate veteran quarterback. I don't have a problem throwing the ball there. One, yes, you still want more yardage to make it a shorter field goal. Two, you're trying to use the rest of the clock because you don't want to have to give the ball back to SMU if you don't have to. Ideally, you're going to be able to use the clock and you kick the field goal, if that's what it is, at the very end in order to win the game, and SMU doesn't get the ball back. Trusting your seventh-year quarterback to not turn it over, to not make a mistake, I have no problem with that. Like I think Brady White has earned that trust too, and he didn't protect the football. It was a bad play. It ends up being a disaster, and they end up losing the game because of that. But I don't have a problem, trying to throw the football in that situation.
I'm with you. And Gabe, I would imagine as a former player that this week is going to be really tough because you want to play. After you lose a game, I would imagine you want to turn around, especially after a month layoff, that you want to play, and now you have this weekend off. You don't have a game scheduled, so you got to sit there and kind of stew over what happened.
Don't stew over a week. I think there's definitely some negatives when you look at it, but there's certainly positives because if you let it stew right there for a week and then have a game, you're going to, because we had a situation, I forget, it was 2015. We lost to Houston last second. They kicked the field goal. We went out that next week and lost to Houston for the second time when we played Temple and got smacked. We were just completely demoralized. So I think having 2 weeks in this situation will let you have 1 week to get this out of your mind and then the next week to actually prep for UCF. Whereas if you just had this 1 week and had to get into that UCF game, you might be still feeling some of those effects of losing to SMU close. In Dallas.
Good point. So maybe a blessing in disguise. So UCF in a week, or 2 weeks rather, a week from this upcoming Saturday, and UCF lost for the second straight year to Tulsa. I know they lost last year, so maybe I shouldn't have been shocked that they lost this year, but the way UCF was playing early in this year, I thought they would crush Tulsa, absolutely crush them. So that was another shocker, I thought, with UCF losing at home 34-26 to the Golden Hurricanes. Already, other than Cincinnati, which is undefeated, looks solid, had the win over Army, got the win over USF on Saturday 28-7. They look really, really solid. And SMU's 4-0, but the caliber of competition up until Memphis was not that strong. And with these injuries, I don't know what that will mean for the future. Navy got clocked again at Air Force in a non-conference game. So right now, the only thing that looks solid is Cincinnati. But I think Memphis is still in a pretty good position. But UCF is going to be a game where they're going to have to win.
Well, I think you also have to just give Tulsa some credit. I mean, Tulsa easily could have a win over Oklahoma State and UCF already.
True.
I mean, they
played Oklahoma State well
penalties and stuff like that. They could have, and what they did defensively against Oklahoma State was good. And UCF normally puts up 50, it seems like, every game. So Tulsa could end up being a factor in all of this.
Well, they could. I guess I just don't believe in them.
I mean, last year, if they have a good field goal kicker, they would have beaten Memphis last year and SMU both.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true.
This Tulsa team's not bad.
Yeah, I know they're not bad. I'm not giving them maybe the credit they deserve. It is pretty impressive when you can hold UCF to 26 points. That is impressive. But they're going to have to show me a little bit more. But again, second year in a row that they knocked off UCF. So the American Conference, interesting already. Memphis, a tough loss. I know people are going to probably text in and complain about either the play calling or Brady White. I understand. But again, to be in the position that they were, the start that they got off to, I didn't think they were going to be in the game at all. And can you chalk some of that up to rust? I think so. But there is an issue with the secondary. They've been banged up. They've been hit with injuries and the COVID and all that stuff, and they were destroyed by Reggie Robertson. And we sure hope the kid's going to be okay. But that was gruesome. And they lost T.J. McDaniel early in that game. So Memphis, you look at it, maybe they shouldn't even have been in the game. So give them a lot of credit for bouncing back the way they did. It's just unfortunate the way they lost the game. Okay, we're going to get into the SEC when we return. We're going to talk also about what happened nationally, including another big loss for Oklahoma as they seem to be out of it now as far as the college football playoff down the road is concerned. We will talk with Barrett Sallee at 11:05, and then we'll get into the National Football League, the NBA playoffs, the Major League Baseball playoffs. A lot to get to here on this Monday edition of Middays. If you want to chime in, again, open phone lines at 360-8255, First Bank phone lines, First Bank text line. You can text in with any comment or question, 67129. Lawn Solutions is the locally owned weed control fertilization company that serves the greater Memphis area. Brandon Holly is the owner of the company, and he has a team of professionals that can take care of your lawn. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met. He really does a great job with this company. LawnSolutionsInc.net. If you need more information, go online to LawnSolutionsInc.net. Or just call Brandon at 901-867-5626. Tell him I sent you. They will go out and kill those weeds. They'll get you that green plush lawn, be the envy of your neighborhood. They do this all year long. They control the germination of weeds all year long as they apply the pre-emergence during the winter months and the post-emergence during the summer months. So they're out there during the winter months as well, taking care of the lawn. Even though it looks dormant, they'll make sure those weeds don't pop up in the spring. It's a lot easier to prevent the weeds from popping up than it is to kill them, but they can do that as well. Take care of any disease your lawn has. They can take care of any insect infestation. It's Lawn Solutions, LawnSolutionsInc.net on the web, 901-867-5626. More college football talk when we return. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 FM, and now 98.5 FM.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Farmers Insurance knows that there's a not-so-subtle difference between the sound of a car hitting your rear bumper and the sound of a clown car hitting your rear bumper.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Sorry about
about that?
We call that a three-ring fender bender, and we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent.
They know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Even in times like these, special occasions happen. And when an occasion calls for special, it calls for 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination. From the spectacular 36-ounce porterhouse paired with a Ferrari Carano Cabernet, to the jumbo lump crab cakes, to the raw bar with oysters fresh off the boat from the Gulf and the East Coast, there is simply no finer dining experience in Memphis than 117 Prime in the heart of downtown. These are complicated times, but if you want simply the best, you want 117 Prime.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? If you're thinking about replacing your headlights, be sure to do it in pairs. That way, you won't have uneven lighting over time. Right now, you can get a $10 AutoZone gift card by mail or email when you buy a Sylvania Silver Star Ultra Twin Pack or 2 single packs. And with our next day delivery and free same-day store pickup, you can get it all fast. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hey Tiger fans, this is John Stacy of the Wolf Chase Honda Blue and Gray Show. You can hear Drew Barrett and I talk Tigers with Tigers every Sunday night at 5 right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7. You never know which Tigers great we'll have in the studio with us either. We'll get them to call in too. We are your go-to show for Memphis Tigers football. That's the Wolf Chase Honda Blue and Gray Show right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to learn how FedEx helps small businesses grow every day. This hour is also brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner.
Welcome back. 10:24 is the time on this Monday edition of Sports 56 Middays. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn, and you. We are in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. One other note from the Memphis SMU game. How about most of the students section being kicked out of the game? Being told to leave the stadium because they wouldn't adhere to the mask
Were they the ones on the lawn?
Yes.
Acting a fool?
Acting a fool, no mask.
With no mask,
no
standing
social
right next
distancing.
to each other. Yeah, no, I can see that.
In other words, kids or young adults being kids or young adults doing crazy things that we all did in college, even though there wasn't a COVID-19 pandemic when we went to school. What do you expect? I mean, you know that's going to happen, and they're not going to be the only ones, but I'm glad the security did their thing at SMU.
If you think college students are going to go to a game and socially distance themselves and wear masks and all that, if your plan is for that, don't even allow them to the game because that's not going to happen.
Also, I will say this. How ignorant they were being, standing next to each other, hanging off of each other with no masks on the lawn. I mean, it looked like they were doing it out of spite. But maybe that's just me thinking critically on them, but it did not look like that. It looked like they knew that what they were doing was not correct.
Hell, a lot of adults aren't adhering to the rules, if you will, of wearing a mask inside the stadium or being not within 6 feet. So look at the Georgia game. I mean, there are people on top of each other. It just, I don't know. At least from what I saw, not being there, it seemed like there was a lot of not adhering to the regulations in a lot of different stadiums. Not a lot of stadiums even close to capacity, but trying to space them out is still tough when they try to come together and gather together. And certainly that was apparent in Dallas at the SMU game.
But I am sure that all those SMU kids learned their lesson, and when they kicked them out of the game, they all went their separate ways and did not stay together, not wearing masks.
Oh, they went back to their dorms. I mean, they're separate dorms, and they made
I'm sure
they quarantined.
I'm sure they felt terrible about it, and they said, you know what, they're right. We need to spread out, go get your mask on, go home, and do nothing for the rest of the day. I'm sure that's exactly what happened.
As everybody thought, Arkansas was going to go down to Stark Vegas and knock off a team that just beat LSU in Baton Rouge and Mississippi State. Everybody predicted that one, right? Arkansas winning 21-14, ending that long SEC losing streak, that road losing streak, that streak against top 25 teams. Let's give it up for Sam Pittman, ladies and gentlemen. Arkansas gets the win over Mississippi State.
I told you last week, don't want to overreact to one game on Mississippi State, but I still, for whatever reason, took Mississippi State to cover that spread.
He overreacted.
But and that wasn't necessarily overreaction. That was more of a. I did not think Arkansas was capable of this. I mean, when a team's lost 20 straight SEC games, there's a reason for that, and for them to do what they did, you absolutely have to give a ton of credit to Sam Pittman. I mean, certainly could never have imagined Arkansas going on the road and winning that game.
No,
one thing covering, but another winning the game. Didn't see that one coming in a million years.
How about holding Mississippi State to 14 points? Remember that opening game against Georgia. Arkansas actually led the game at halftime and held Georgia to what, 5? I think it was 5 points.
7-5 at halftime.
7-5 at halftime. And then in the second half, things got going for Georgia under the quarterback, Bennett, but the first half, I mean, Arkansas, you wondered, wow, are they going to be this good defensively? And then they hold Mississippi State to 14. KJ Costello, more like what he did at Stanford than what he did the first week when he set the SEC record for yards in a game passing. He went 43 of 59, so he's still chucking it around a lot in that air raid offense. 313 yards a touchdown, but 3 interceptions, including a pick 6.
What do you mean more like what he did at Stanford?
He wasn't throwing up 600 and something yards passing.
He wasn't throwing the ball 59 times either.
Stanford.
You saw in week 1 with Mississippi State what it looks like when it all goes right with the air raid and when a team's not prepared.
I'm talking about turnovers. He had a lot of turnovers.
Oh yeah, he had 3.
No, but I'm saying at Stanford, he didn't throw the ball a lot, but he had turnovers. He was prone to turnover. So that's what I'm saying. And then here, this was more like he had 3 turnovers in this game. How many turnovers did he have in his career at Stanford? I thought he had a bunch. Maybe I'm wrong.
Here's the thing.
Looks like at Stanford he had 11 plus 18.
Okay.
18 and 49 and 18 is what he went while he was at Stanford.
Okay.
49 TDs, 18 interceptions.
The thing is this: it didn't go necessarily great for him as a head coach. I still believe Barry Odom's a pretty darn good defensive coach.
Yes, he is.
And that this is going to be the thing with this Mike Leach offense is, can it work in the SEC once people see exactly what it is and see with this personnel, and obviously Kylan Hill leaving the game with the injury. When Kylan Hill only gets 1 touch in the game,
right?
That's also
it's a big part of your
kills
offense.
Mississippi State. I mean, he's not going to run the ball a ton, but he's still a big part of that offense, catching the ball and other things. So that was a massive, massive loss for them to lose him early in that game. So, but you got to give Odom and Arkansas a lot of credit. I said holding them to 14 points after Costello threw for 1,000,000 yards in week 1. That was an impressive showing by Arkansas. I would have never guessed they could go down there and win that game.
Well, Arkansas also lost their number 1 running back. Boyd got hurt too. Now, I think it's a bigger loss losing Kylan Hill, and I think your point's well taken. But they lost Boyd early in that game, and Felipe Franks did enough to help his team win. He didn't have a turnover. 20 of 28 for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. Felipe Franks is not the kind of guy who's going to chuck it around the field like Costello did in game 1, like Trask has been doing. He can't turn it over. And if he doesn't turn it over and just manages a game, Arkansas at least will be in the game with that Barry Odom defense.
Dare I say, though, week 1, obviously everything went right for Mississippi State. But I think it's sort of what you said, Eli. Week 2, the other team has film on you now. Mm-hmm. The other team has beats on who you want to throw to, who you want to get the ball to, how you're going to use your weapons. So I think that's what you saw. Arkansas was there, anticipating everything, and just played overall fantastic on defense.
If they played again this weekend, I'd still pick Mississippi State. I'm still shocked that Arkansas won that game and held them to 14 points. All right, Ole Miss. They go to Lexington. This is one I had. I thought Ole Miss would win this game. It took overtime. It was a wild game and ends up being a missed extra point in overtime by the Kentucky kicker. And then Ole Miss scored, and they kicked the extra point, and that's the margin, 42-41. Coaches make the quarterback in a lot of cases, in a lot of situations. And Lane Kiffin is making Matt Corral. 24 of 29, 320, 4 touchdown passes, 13 rushes for 51 yards. He has been incredible through the first 2 games. And Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin gets his first win as their head coach.
Yeah, that's the one. One thing about Lane Kiffin, I think the one thing that's clear, he knows offense, and he's going to have a good offense pretty much everywhere he goes, and he's usually going to have a pretty darn good quarterback. And Matt Corral has looked fantastic through these first 2 weeks under Lane Kiffin and in Lane Kiffin's offense. And he's got weapons. I mean, there's no. The thing was, you didn't come in here with a bare cupboard offensively. I mean, Corral obviously is a pretty darn good quarterback. They've got weapons at the wide receiver spot, running backs. They've got some offensive talent on this team. And I'd said last week when I picked Ole Miss, I said the one thing that concerns me is Kentucky may just run the ball all over them.
Which they did.
Which Kentucky ran the ball all over them. I mean, it's a pretty amazing win, actually, when you give up that many yards rushing, 408 rushing yards. Normally, that means the other team just completely controlled the game, and you never got an opportunity. So to still get that win, that's pretty darn impressive. Now, the kid A.J. Rose for Kentucky's got to feel like a bit of an idiot for his celebration too early that ends up costing him points on that drive. But somehow kids will continue to do that and continue to make mistakes, and professional players do it as well. But 408 rushing yards to overcome that and still get a win, that's some good work offensively.
3 separate 100-yard rushing games in that contest for the Kentucky players. 3 different guys, including Terry Wilson, their quarterback, rushed for over 100 yards. Absolutely. You would think ball control, they're running the ball, they're successful in running the ball, they win the football game. But nope, because Ole Miss has an offense. And when you have an offense, as I always say, you have a chance to win games. Now, if you have the type of defense Ole Miss has, are you going to be outscored in a lot of those games? Yes. This is not Alabama, for goodness sakes. But Alabama now has, over the last 5-6 years, matched the offense with the defense. But if I got my choice, I got my druthers, give me the offensive-minded head coach over the defensive-minded head coach. And that's why the Lane train and Ole Miss is going to be fun to watch, even in games that they lose 49-42. It's going to happen. But this one they won 42-41. Give them a lot of credit. Kentucky starts off 0-2. So you're already down to, in 2 weeks, there's only 4 undefeateds remaining in the SEC. Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. The West is all 1-1 with the exception of Alabama. And that includes Tennessee. Well, Tennessee, I just mentioned, 2-0. And they got a big one this week. They're going to play Georgia. And Tennessee knocked off Mizzou 35-12. They have now won 8 consecutive games. Eric Gray from Memphis and Lausanne, terrific. 16 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown. He also caught a 13-yard touchdown pass from Jarrett Garantano, who was solid. 14-23, 190, a touchdown, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Again, Garantano not making mistakes and being the leader that he should be gives Tennessee a chance in every game. And defensively, they were really, really good. And I don't know what to expect against Georgia this weekend, but I like what I'm seeing so far from Tennessee.
That game was a lot of what I think you should see out of Tennessee all year. I mean, that offensive line now with Cade Mays added in there is just ridiculously good. I mean, it's all 5-star guys basically, and so you just rely on those guys, the running game with Gray and Chandler. It's about an even split again between the two of them, which it seems like that's what we're going to see going forward. You don't ask Garantano to do too much, just let him be the game manager type and let the offensive line and the running game kind of win it for you. I think that's the kind of the recipe right now for Tennessee. Now, can they do that against Georgia? I don't know. I mean, that's going to be a difficult task because Georgia, since that first half against Arkansas, the last 6 quarters by Georgia have been pretty darn impressive.
Well, I didn't expect that from Georgia. I wasn't surprised Georgia won the game, but they completely dominated Auburn. Auburn put up 6 points. They only had 216 total yards of offense. And that's the team with the veteran quarterback returning. Not veteran. I know last year was his first year as a starter, Bo Nix. But they have the returning quarterback. Stetson Bennett was not the returning quarterback for Georgia. Georgia still has the quarterback issue, even though I think Bennett now is making the case that he should be the guy and he shouldn't put, when I say he, Kirby Smart, JT Daniels in there. But Georgia was the one that had steady quarterback play throughout the game once again and great defense. And so, again, I'm not surprised Georgia won. But Auburn wasn't even in this game.
No, it was. I mean, they never whatsoever were in the game. I mean, it was over early, and it kept thinking, okay, maybe Auburn can find a way to rally, but just nothing. Could do nothing offensively against that Georgia defense.
Also in the West, Alabama over Texas A&M, and this is one we thought that he would cover. Nick Saban would cover, and they did by 28 points. Another former disciple of Nick Saban, and he is undefeated against those guys. Mac Jones, 20 of 27, 435 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. Look, if you get pocket protection and you have a pretty good arm and you have those receivers on the outside, just chuck it down the field, man, and let those guys go to work. And that's exactly what Mac Jones is doing.
It's like the receivers, they just continue. It's just every single year. You're like, my goodness gracious. Like, if you're a quarterback, heck, you'd want to go to Alabama just because, every year you're going to have like 2 or 3 All-American receivers to throw to. Like,
right.
Why not? I mean, Jalen Waddle, then you throw in John Mechie who comes in. And I mean, Mac Jones averaged over 20 yards per completion. Every time they completed the pass, they were averaging basically 22 yards.
I've watched both Alabama games, most of the game, and I've watched a little bit of Clemson so far. Again, it's impossible to gauge. Clemson looks like Clemson with Etienne and with Trevor Lawrence, but Alabama looks better right now. Now, I know they have a couple of issues in the secondary. They've made a couple of mistakes in the secondary. They're trying to get a couple of new guys in there. But Alabama, to me, right now, from the few weeks of football and without the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and Mountain West, I understand all that, looks like the best team to me.
They've been very impressive. I think we see that Mac Jones is certainly, he may not be, Tua, quite as dynamic, but again, with the weapons that they have around him, he's going to be good and he's efficient. So with the guys they do have healthy on defense, with Dylan Moses and others that were out last year, there might be some questions in the secondary, but this Alabama team so far looks really, really good. And obviously they'll be in Oxford coming up this weekend, and I'm sure Lane would love nothing more than to somehow figure out a way to beat Nick Saban. That's going to be a bit of a tough task. If Kentucky's running for 400 yards against you, who knows what Alabama could do offensively against them. John from Covington, Texas, he says, wait until next week. Saban will take Lane Kiffin to the woodshed. Roll Tide.
I wonder what the line is. Have you guys looked at the lines yet, the early lines for next week?
I have not seen that one. I can look it up here and let's see if they've got it posted.
Maybe 17-20, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Let's see. I've got it at 24 here.
24. 24 points.
And here's the thing, too, on that. As much as I said, Lane Kiffin would love to beat Nick Saban, I have a feeling Nick might be a little motivated to make sure
run it up a little bit?
To make sure he covers on this one.
Well, we'll say Ole Miss, that offense, which is pretty darn good so far, will be challenged, no question about it. They could put some points on the board. They'll stay within 24, but Alabama, when they are firing on all cylinders, that's the type of games that they can win 49-7, 55-21 type games with Alabama. We've seen that in the past. 2 other games from the SEC, just briefly. LSU bounced back as you thought they would. They beat up on Vandy 41-7. And then South Carolina and Florida. South Carolina hung early. It was 14-14, but then Kyle Trask took over, 4 touchdown passes to go with his 6 from week 1. So 10 in 2 games for Kyle Trask. And Florida beat South Carolina 38-24 as they went on Saturday.
Kyle Pitts is putting up some amazing numbers from the tight end position.
Is he the number 1 tight end in the country? He has to be, right?
I think right now, without question. Receiving the ball, no question.
Yeah.
That's not arguable.
What's he at, 6 touchdowns?
I think so. And
yeah,
and then there have been
2 weeks.
The last 2 years, college has produced a couple of maybe more than a couple of really good NFL tight ends. Noah Fant, a couple of those guys. The guy for Detroit, what's his name? Hawkinson. I mean, some really good ones. And this is another kid coming down the pike that is really good.
I mean, he's so athletic. You know, he's more of a kind of a wide receiver playing tight end. He's kind of a combo guy. Like you watch him, and you're like, he doesn't scream tight end to you.
He's a, and this is not a knock on Sean because I think Sean's really good, but he's like a better Sean Dykes. I mean, Dykes is that kind of guy that you look at and you don't think tight end. You see wide receiver. I think he's really good, but this kid Pitts is first round good.
Yeah, he's got 12 catches, 227 yards, 6 touchdowns in 2 games. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I know that this is a guy we don't want to bring up, but I remember him at Florida, and this is another tight end coming out of Florida. Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
Just truthfully how he runs, and I nothing off the field. I'm not saying anything about the guy, obviously. But what I'm trying to say is,
Pitts isn't going to murder anybody and then kill himself.
As far as catching the ball and route running and how good he is matching up against safeties on the other team, I mean, Kyle Pitts is. It's a good
comparison.
Comp.
Good comparison.
He's hard to guard. There's no doubt about that. By the way, going back to the Kentucky Ole Miss game, who feels worse? Who felt worse afterwards? The kicker or Rose, the running back?
The kicker missed a field goal too, didn't he? Earlier in the game, did he not?
Well, I don't know if he did or not.
I thought he missed a field goal earlier, and then he missed the extra point. I would think. They both feel terrible, but I would think it might be the kicker because he was at the very end. It was him. He missed the extra point, and you knew Ole Miss was going to score, kick the extra point, and win it. The other kid was earlier in the game, but if he had not done the showboat like he did, and I'm just tired of talking about that every week, from whether it be high school, college, even the NFL, for goodness sakes, just run the ball in as hard as you can, run with the ball, get into the end zone, then you can drop it. But Rose got to feel pretty bad, too.
Tyreek Hill can do that stuff because Tyreek Hill's so fast that nobody's going to catch him from behind. When you're A.J. Rose, there might be a guy catching you from behind. Tyreek Hill can get away with throwing up the deuces whenever he wants because he knows if he has passed everybody, there isn't anybody in the world, I don't think, that can catch him from behind on the football field.
Right, but didn't Tyreek Hill tweet out something about basically saying score the touchdown before he put up the deuces? Didn't he? Am I crazy? Did he not tweet that out yesterday? I thought it was Tyreek Hill. I'll have to look that up during the break.
I don't know. This hour of the program brought to you by Action247.com. Another week of free games for you to play. Win actual cash, real cash. But it's free to play the games right now at Action247.com. All you got to do is go sign up. You can get in on those free games and be ready once sports betting becomes legal here in the state of Tennessee in the very near future. Again, it's Action, the numbers 247, Action247.com. That's the website. Get signed up, get ready to go, and play those free games right now as they bring you the first hour of Sports 56 Middays.
Everything looks different in 2020. But the Red River rivalry, is going to look really, really different this weekend as Texas and Oklahoma are both going to enter the game coming off losses. When's the last time that happened? The two of them losing on the same weekend heading into the Red River rivalry. We will talk about that in the national scene in college football when we return. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and now 98.5 FM.
Start your day the right way with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane on Sports 56 Mornings. Weekdays from 7 to 10 on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We have all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, there are aerial pictures that are taken every 4 years that can be used to measure a building, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one by using pictures that might be 4 years old. If you would rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, please give me a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best customer service we know how to provide. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to learn how FedEx helps small businesses grow every day. This hour is also brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
According to Pete Thamel, Kansas State coach Chris Kleiman has reached an agreement for a new contract. Kleiman's 6-year deal goes to 2026. Will average close to $4 million annually. His previous deal was through 2024 and averaged $2.8 million. So even during hard times, this coach is getting a $1.2 million per year bump, added years, and I guess when you lose to Arkansas State, these things happen.
It's when you beat Oklahoma twice in a row at Kansas State, they might as well give you the keys to the kingdom. That's
apparently that's what happened.
They don't care about anything else. You beat Oklahoma twice in a row. good things happen. By the way, the Memphis UCF game has been slotted into the 2:30 slot on ABC for a week from Saturday. So despite the losses by both teams this week, they still are going to be the 2:30 afternoon game on ABC.
It'll basically be 7 weeks between my gigs on the sideline. 7 weeks. That's incredible. From the first game we did against Arkansas State, and I can't do any of the road games because of the COVID. I won't be traveling, so I wasn't in Dallas. And then we got the game on the 17th. My gosh, it's so long. It just seems like...
And I should say, right now that game is slated to be played at 2:30 in the afternoon. Let's just hope the game is actually played.
I think everything has to have an asterisk next to it. There were games played on Saturday around the nation, and once again, it was a rough one for the Big 12. There is an undefeated team still. There's only one. It's Oklahoma State. But Texas, who should have lost that game last week to Texas Tech if it wasn't for a miraculous comeback, lose to TCU 33-31, and Oklahoma falls again as they lose their second straight game. They lose to Iowa State 37-30. Oklahoma had not lost in Ames in 60 years, 6-0. So I don't know how to describe the Big 12. I guess all you have to say is it's 2020.
Yeah, I mean, the simple explanation of it all is that Oklahoma has lost twice in a row, which they hadn't done that in a long time, both to teams that had previously lost to Sunbelt teams.
Wow. And don't put this on the quarterback, because that kid can sling it. I know he had the pick late. Spencer Rattler is another in those long line of Oklahoma quarterbacks under Lincoln Riley or under Stoops that have developed. But, there's people who want to blame that kid. Don't blame him.
I'm stunned that they lost again. I would have thought that it would come out a little angry and knowing that, okay, our margin for error is gone and taking care of business. So I don't know what the heck's going on in the Big 12. Because Oklahoma State, easily could have lost to Tulsa. And they're now the remaining hope for the Big 12 is Oklahoma State.
Yeah, if you think they're running the table, you got another thing coming. Gary Patterson now 7-2 versus Texas since joining the Big 12 as a team. They, of course, were in Conference USA. Gary Patterson 7-2. He owns the Longhorns. Now, Texas had a chance. They had the ball at the 1-yard line of TCU, and they fumbled it away.
Yeah, the old goal line fumble. That seems like that's recent Texas history. That's what the current era of Texas football does.
Yeah, last week they figured it out. They rallied from 15 down in the last 3 minutes of the game to beat TCU, or to beat Texas Tech, rather. And this time they had it right there. I forget who the running back was. That guy's got to feel terrible as well. But they put themselves in a position to lose the game. They couldn't handle the quarterback for TCU. That kid was tough.
The thing too, I thought Tom Herman was going to go down there, and I thought he would have them, turned around in a hurry. Mm-hmm. And you got the veteran quarterback who seemingly has been there forever. I don't know why Texas can't get it fully turned around.
Right.
Because
they have all the resources in the world.
Somebody had this since he's gotten there. I don't remember how many games, but it's how many losses it is now as a ranked team against unranked opponents. But it's the most in the country since he has been at Texas. And I don't, he was great as the underdog guy. His teams always did well as kind of the underdog team against ranked opponents. Mm-hmm. Now, as the ranked opponent, ranked guy against the unranked, right, he struggles in that situation. I don't know. I don't understand why Texas can't get this thing figured out. In a situation where the Big 12 is there for the taking.
I don't have an answer. Again, is Texas back? We always hear, is Texas back? Is Miami back? Miami seems to be back under Manny Diaz and just his, second year as head coach. But with Tom Herman now, he's been there long enough. They get great recruits. They have resources out the yin-yang. They need to be better than this. I don't understand. They need another talking to from Matthew McConaughey. That was your cue, Eli. That was your cue.
I wasn't ready.
You can't do it on the spot, can you?
No. Well, he's the what's his title again?
culture coach or whatever.
Yeah, what is the official title he has?
Yeah, it's culture something, right?
Is it Minister of Culture?
Is that what it is?
I feel like it's something like that. Gosh darn it.
This Memphis Sports Fact is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Did you know the largest attended AutoZone Liberty Bowl game ever was on December 29th, 2007, when Mississippi State defeated UCF by the score of 10-3. A defensive battle. The announced crowd was 63,816. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Elmo. On the web at gaddisjewelers.com. It's your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters. They've been serving Memphians and Mid-Southerners for 23 years. Guys, it's not the easiest thing to pick out the right ring. It's the biggest decision of your life, but James, Linda, and the rest of the pros at James Gaddis Jewelers will answer all your questions and steer you in the right direction. James is a master jeweler, certified appraiser, diamondologist, and graded by the Gemologist Institute of America. In other words, he has his credentials. They are full-service jewelers with 2 bench jewelers ready to serve you. They are COVID-19 conscious. You get in there, and it is clean as a whistle. They will, again, help you with all your needs. You can call them at 901-767-9648. They'll answer your questions. Again, you can go online to gaddisjewelers.com. It's James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Elmo.
Minister of Culture.
Or the ambassador. I've seen both.
I saw Minister.
I've seen Minister and I've seen Ambassador. Which
Minister
one is it?
sounds way better.
Plus, he supplies the weed.
McConaughey sounds more. McConaughey feels more like a minister of culture than just an ambassador of culture.
When we come back, the ambassador of CBS Sports. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that one. Barrett Sallee will join us next. This is Sports 56 Middays.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
If you've got an insurance question, you could talk to the butcher at your local grocery store. He'd probably talk about trimming the fat, but it'd be about your brisket, not your insurance policies. Or you could talk to your local Geico agent. They offer personalized assistance in finding the choicest cuts of coverage for all your insurance needs, which means more money for filet mignon. Or, if you're a vegetarian, tofu lait mignon. To find a Geico agent near you, visit geico.com/local.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
There's a new commissary in town. In Collierville, Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, WPGFLP Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to see how to turn browsers into buyers. Learn how FedEx can help take your business to the next level. This hour is also brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Living on a lighted stage approaches the unreal. For those who
Welcome back, everybody, on this magnificent Monday, October 5th, 2020. The weather downright beautiful here in the Mid-South. Hope your Monday is off to a great start. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. The world's biggest spa sale going on right now. When you stop by and you check out the spas and all the other great stuff at Family Leisure, pick yourself up an official Sports 56 mask while supplies last. Window Genie, second hour sponsor of Sports 56 Middays, a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. Give Kate Robertson a call today at 901-424-4100 and ask about the early specials on your holiday lighting. Window Genie will customize your lighting, install it, maintain it, and store it away for one low price. You don't have to lift a finger. If you do so by November 1st, if you order by November 1st, you're getting 15% off. So call Kate today for a free estimate. Window Genie, 901-424-4100. Time now for Barrett Sallee.
It's time to talk some college football on Sports 56 Middays. Joining Greg and Eli is Barrett Sallee from CBSSports.com, CBS Sports HQ, and Sirius XM Radio. Now, here's Barrett with Greg and Eli.
Barrett Sallee joins us every Monday during the college football season. You can follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee. He joins us now. Barrett, this news is, I guess, alarming, but it's not as serious, at least right now from what I'm reading, but I'm sure you know by now the Bobby Bowden news, who turns 41 next month, says he's feeling fine after being tested and shown a positive test for COVID-19. Did I say 41? 91. Yeah. Did I say 41? Wow.
I was going to say, did he go back in time? Because goodness. I mean,
is this Bobby Bowden the fourth we're talking about?
I know he's aged well, but he hasn't aged that well.
Man, that's his great grandson, I guess. Now, 91, he is positive for COVID-19, but they say he's not exhibited any symptoms associated with it. But my gosh, it's scary especially when you have the elderly contracting the disease. So
things aren't good at Florida State. It just continues to get worse and worse at Florida State.
Well, it could have been a lot worse. They were losing there for a while to Jacksonville State. At least they finally got that W. My gosh.
Yeah, that was ugly. That was really, really ugly. But that's what Florida State is. That's that they have a long hill to climb, and clearly that's taken a lot longer than maybe people expected when Mike Norvell got that job. But with Bobby Bowden, certainly scary. He was in the hospital for a leg infection. That's when he got tested for it. And he also, has a health history. He was hospitalized with that same leg infection. I think it was in March or April, and also was in the hospital for pneumonia a few years ago.
Jeez.
So, yeah, he's vulnerable. There's no doubt. But it sounds like he's doing all right. And it makes me wonder how many, if we got tested every 3-4 days, all of us, how many people would have COVID who are asymptomatic, because it seems like everybody who gets it or most people who get it are asymptomatic.
Absolutely. I bet there'd be a high number that people would test positive, even if they don't have the symptoms. I mean, you mentioned Mike Norvell, another guy who just recently had COVID-19 positive test and couldn't coach his team when they went to Miami. But since you brought up Mike and Florida State, how long do you think, in general terms, should a new coach be given before a fan base turns on a coach? I'm talking about realistic fans. What should he have? I mean, Mike obviously doesn't have the guys in there, all the guys that he's going to want for his system. What kind of slack do you give a head coach?
I think it depends on the situation in school. I think Mike Norvell, at this point, after what Florida State became, probably deserves 3 years. The reason he deserves 3 years is because Willie Taggart stepped into a situation that was not great with Jimbo Fisher and made it incredibly worse, like exponentially worse. So, I think it depends on the situation and where a program stands and where a program should be, based on the historic wins and losses of that school. So, I think Mike Norvell probably deserves 3. But there's and Jeremy Pruitt, I think, can probably be in that same group too, where he inherited a really bizarre situation, being a first-time head coach, and so he deserves some patience too. But then there's other jobs. Clay Helton at USC, perfect example. They went to a Rose Bowl, and then next year didn't go to a bowl. They were 5-7, and that should not happen at USC. So. It just depends on the situation, but I think at Florida State right now, 3 years is probably where a safe number for Mike Norvell.
And I firmly believe that Mike Norvell is going to win very big at Florida State. I have a lot of faith in Mike Norvell, what he did here at Memphis. I think he is the right guy for the job and will get it done. But we were discussing in our first segment, or our last segment, Barrett, a little bit about Texas. Because I thought when Tom Herman went there, that Tom Herman would get that turned around and they would, be kind of become Texas again. Why do you think? Why can't Texas figure it out?
The more I think about it, the more it to me is just the style of play that the Big 12 has, because you have a bunch of guys in that state who are constantly defending the spread in high school. And because of that, to me, it makes them more vulnerable to teams getting hot. I think the way that the SEC and to an extent the ACC has sort of built itself is that it's a line of scrimmage league, right? Like it's a line of scrimmage league. You've got the bodies to be competitive. And if you've got all the bodies, then you're going to probably win a ton of games. But, why does the spread exist? Well, it exists to shrink a talent gap. It exists to bring to level the playing field, so to speak. So if you got everybody doing it, and you've got everybody in high school, defending it, then you're going to have situations where, maybe a team does get hot, maybe a team has a good game, and equalizes the playing field, so to speak. So the more I think about it, the more it's something like that. Because I'm with you. Tom Herman's a good coach. Chris Ash is a good defensive coordinator. Todd Orlando's a good defensive coordinator. He got fired. So it's just, to me, it's the style more than anything else, I guess. I mean, I can't think of anything else it would be.
Hey, Barrett, since we're talking about the Big 12, Kleiman with the new contract, we talked about this earlier in the show. Why now? Why do you have to give Chris Kleiman the 6-year contract with the huge the huge increase in salary when right now schools are struggling financially? It's not a good optic. Was Chris Kleiman about to leave? I mean, no, he wasn't. So why now?
I really have no idea. Unless there might be language in there. If there's language, in there that allows for relief for the school financially if, certain revenue benchmarks aren't hit for the athletic department, maybe that would make sense. And honestly, I don't know what the new era of coaching contracts is going to be. I don't think anybody does. But if there was something like that built in, it would make sense. But if if there's not, and it's just a standard old coaching contract like we have, before all the financial issues hit, it doesn't seem like a smart move. I like Chris Lyons. He's a good coach. I think he's done a great job there and will continue to do a great job there. But it's only a year and 3 games? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of faith. But again, I think it goes back to a broader issue. What is a coaching contract right now? Because there might be a whole lot more legalese in there now that we're in this financial, state in college athletics. And as we all know, billable hours are undefeated. So that probably means there is more language in there.
Right.
That's for sure. So Barrett, did you ever see this Arkansas victory coming?
No, not after what happened last week with Mississippi State. I said before the season, because I didn't think Mississippi State would be anything, because I didn't trust Mike Leach. I said before the season, Arkansas is going to get a win. Maybe it's Missouri, maybe it's Mississippi State, wherever. But after what Mississippi State did to LSU, no, I did not expect that. But credit to Sam Pittman and that staff and Barry Odom, because they saw that game tape and they learned what not to do. Because they just sat there and zoned all day long and said, "Go, come pick us apart if you can," and they couldn't. And that was what makes the loss or the win over LSU so concerning if you're an LSU fan. Because Bo Pelini, it wasn't hard. He didn't make an adjustment at all.
He's stubborn.
And then he said he did go into zone. And I'm like, hey, you in the zone, then you have a weird way of coaching zone, because that's what a lot of defensive backs
looked a lot like man-to-man.
Yeah. So, it was. I did not see that coming for Arkansas, but man, what a defensive performance.
Of course, that Kylan Hill injury, he is such a big part of that offense, and you lose him so early, you have to make adjustments, and other guys have to step up, and they really didn't.
No, they didn't. Well, and the thing is, even though Kylan Hill is not necessarily used the same way as he was last year in that offense, I think everybody knows that he's the biggest weapon they have.
Right.
So, Mike Leach's team is not difficult, right? Like, it's 6 plays, basically. And if Kylan Hill's in there, then you have to account for him in a variety of ways. And when he's not in there, I don't think there's really anybody in that receiving core, maybe save for Osiris Mitchell, maybe, who really draw attention from opposing defensive coordinators. So, that Kylan is, even though he's different, it looks different, he's being used different, the impact, I think, is still the same.
Barrett, I asked this earlier. Who should feel worse, or who does feel worse for Kentucky, the kicker or A.J. Rose?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say the kicker, because it was an extra point. A.J. Rose was still tackled, right? He shouldn't have thrown up deuces. No, it was an awful, awful look. He did get caught. It's not like throwing up the deuces slowed him down. At least I don't think it did, because, he was losing ground anyway before he did that. The fumble on the goal line certainly compounded the issue, but it's got to be the kicker. You don't miss an extra point in overtime. You can't do that.
I think he missed a field goal, too, earlier in the game, but I may be wrong about that. I don't know why. It's in my head that he also missed a field goal.
I kind of lean towards Rose because of when you throw the fumble on top of it. Like, you do the terrible play, it looks terrible. Whether that did actually slow him down or not, I don't know, or whether he would have got in if he does that. But then when you throw the fumble in, after the coach is like, okay, fine, we'll look past that. We'll still give you the ball to score the touchdown, and you fumble on the goal line. Boy, oh boy, that's rough.
That's doghouse material.
Here's the thing. I'm going to ask you something, Eli. Here's the thing with that. Let's just say he doesn't throw up the deuces, because I think he'd have been caught. I honestly think he'd have been caught. Let's just say, he gets tackled at the 25-yard line from behind, whatever, and then he fumbles on the 3-yard line. I don't think he'd feel anywhere close to as bad as the kicker.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think he feels worse now because his highlight is shown. That highlight was shown everywhere, making fun of him for doing that.
But Barrett's point, I think, is the same point I made earlier. The kid's extra point happened later in the game on the drive in overtime that you knew once he missed that extra point, Ole Miss was going to score and win the game. So you remember that a lot more than the kid until you see ESPN and SportsCenter and watch what the kid did. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's more the kicker. All right. So last week, and we weren't. I think Eli, you had Auburn as well, right?
Yes.
Last week I had Auburn. You were all over Auburn, Barrett. You thought Auburn was going to crush Georgia. Now that you've seen that game, Georgia wins. They win handily. What are your observations now of those two teams coming out of the game Saturday?
Man, Georgia improved so much from week 1 to week 2. It wasn't. I think saying Auburn was going to beat Georgia emphatically last week was not a hot take, but because after what we saw from Georgia, they couldn't block, they didn't get a ton of pressure, they have no quarterback, they really don't have a receiver outside George Pickens. We saw all of that against Arkansas. It was a bad Georgia team. Well, that offensive line was like a brick wall against Auburn. They found a second receiver in Pierre Jackson against Auburn. The defensive front just poor Bo Nix, man. I know sometimes he bailed too early, but there was a reason he was bailing too early because he was getting pummeled by people back there. So, I think Georgia just improved dramatically from week 1 to week 2, whereas Auburn's issues are Auburn's issues. I think the offensive line, the inexperience is tough, and then the defensive front, they just, Tyrone Truesdale's okay, but outside of him, there's really nobody. So, I think Auburn's issues were magnified really because Georgia got so much better at the line of scrimmage and found another receiver downfield. Because my God, Stetson Bennett, he was good. He really just had to not screw up to win that game.
Barrett Salih from CBS Sports joining us. So, Barrett, what do you expect then with this Georgia-Tennessee matchup? I think Georgia's about a 2-touchdown favorite over the Vols.
Yeah, two touchdowns seems aggressive. Tennessee's good. They're not great, but they're good. And they have great offensive line. So if you have a great offensive line, I think they're tied for 6th nationally in tackles for loss per game allowed. You're going to stay in it. You're going to ugly it up a little bit. And if it's going to be an ugly game, I'll grab 2 touchdowns. That's a lot. So, I don't think Georgia has. I don't think Tennessee has. Really a difference maker at quarterback. While Garantano's better than Stetson Bennett, really, is it that big of a difference? Maybe a little bit, but not enough to make it a blowout or give Tennessee enough to spring an upset. So I think Georgia wins. But 2 touchdowns seems like a lot. It seems like too much.
I want to ask you about 2 national games before we let you go. You got the Miami-Clemson game next week. And Miami under Diaz has really improved. They look good. They're coming off a bye. Clemson won last Saturday. I know they're at the top of the Delta Pledge class. Does Miami have a chance to win this game, in your opinion?
A small chance. More than a Lloyd Christmas and Dumb and Dumber, so you're telling me there's a chance. Just because they have athletes, and they're using them, so... And Clemson is Clemson, right? So there's always that game where you kind of look at it and say, well, why is this happening, Clemson? And most of the time, it's from a team that is either good or experienced, with the exception of Syracuse a couple years ago. But that just sort of fits the bill for Miami because they are talented. I think they're well coached. Especially on the offensive side of the ball, and they're kind of, I won't say battle tested, but they've done enough to sort of, I think, solidify that they have a really good grasp of their own identity and they know what's expected of them. So, yeah, I kind of feel like Miami can at least hang, and Clemson is still Clemson. They're going to win the game. To me, it feels like this could be that one game where Clemson doesn't win by 28 points and have its backups in the second quarter.
Yeah, the early line is anywhere from 14.5 to 16. Clemson is a favorite, what I'm looking at right now. The other game I wanted to ask you about, now this has to be rare. Oklahoma and Texas, Red River rivalry. I don't know how many times in their history going into that game they're both coming off losses. But that's the case here with Oklahoma and Texas. It's certainly taken away some of the luster of that rivalry game. Oklahoma's out of it. I mean, they got 2 losses. They're not going to the playoff. And Texas should have 2 losses. So how do you look at this Red River rivalry with the luster kind of lost?
It's going to be so sad. Like, both of those teams are bad. Defensively, that game might have 80 points in it, and I don't know if any defense is going to get a stop. It's really, really bad for both those teams. Part of me just wants to say, okay, Oklahoma's pedigree gives them something in that game, right? Because Texas has been the Texas for a decade now. Like, this is the same Texas you always get. Oklahoma at least has, the pedigree of success and has guys who have been on a stage and, been put in all kinds of pressure and succeeded some and failed some. This is different pressure, obviously, because you're trying to salvage at least some semblance of a season, but at least they understand what's on their shoulders and have had that burden before. So it's sad, though. I mean, my God, Oklahoma. That is, again, sort of like Texas. It should not be that hard to out-athlete teams on defense, and yet they can't do it.
He is Barrett Sallee. You can follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee. Catch him every Monday during the college football season right here on Middays. He writes for CBS Sports. You can catch him on television on CBS Sports HQ and listen to him on Sirius XM College Radio. Well, at least there's some pretty good matchups on paper this weekend. Looking forward to some more college football, and we'll recap it all next Monday. Thank you, Barrett.
All right, guys.
Take care.
If they all get played.
If they all get played. There are more ways to
win. How many postponements did we have last week, by the way?
2.
Was it just 2?
Just the 2. We've already had 1 postponement for this week because the Wednesday game was Appalachian and Louisiana. Appalachian State, Louisiana, right? That was scheduled for this Wednesday because we were talking about it on Thursday of last week, and they said Wednesday's game, so it had to be this week. So I think we already have 1 postponed for this week. We had 2, though, last week. There are more ways to win than ever before on the FanDuel Fantasy app. From daily fantasy to new season-long contests, you can play for free or join paid games to compete for real cash prizes. Right now, FanDuel is giving new players 20% on their first deposit up to $500 in bonus credit, and that's added instantly into your new account. Enter now to play in Sunday slate and single-game contests, or try your luck in Gridiron Pick'em. Just pick the winners of Sunday's NFL matchups correctly for your chance to earn up to $5,000 every week absolutely free. And when you win, FanDuel pays out your winnings in as little as 24 hours. If you haven't tried FanDuel yet, what are you waiting for? Simply download the FanDuel Fantasy app today to get started and claim your deposit bonus of up to $500. Age and location-based restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com. When we return, baseball and the sports world loses yet another legend. The Major League Baseball playoffs resume today. NBA Final is now an actual contest after the Miami win yesterday. And the NFL will start to recap what happened on Sunday and preview the 2 games happening tonight. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and now 98.5 FM.
Grab a seat for a happy hour with John Harden.
Passengers will please fasten their seatbelts.
On Sports 56 Happy Hour. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
Get your gun, Nelly, and saddle up Penelope. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Buick GMC. Old-time trading prices on over 800 new Buicks and GMCs, and the Sunrise Used Car Corral has over 150 in stock. Sunrise has rustled up a good-looking herd of cars and trucks under $99.95. Ranch managers have been told to cut prices to the bone. If you're a good person with bad credit, SunriseMemphis.com will help put your brand on one of these little fillies. Come on in and save some money during Western Trading Days at Sunrise, Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. Cars cost less at Sunrise, partner. Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, Call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elders Roofing Solutions.
Golfers, are you looking to play like a pro without traveling the world? Just come to Golf and Games Family Park, 5484 Summer Avenue. Golf and Games has the Top Tracer range system. Top Tracer gathers all your golfing data, distance, carry, ball speed, and more. Or choose a virtual course like Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, and Spyglass. Bring your friends and family to transform and enhance the range experience for golfers and non-golfers alike. Plus, it's fun. Top Tracer range at Golf and Games, 5484 Summer Avenue. Play like a pro.
Shopping should be fun, but that's tough when you're worried about credit. At Aaron's, we make it quick and easy. Before you go, head to apply.aarons.com to discover your leasing power. You'll immediately know how much you're approved to lease to own. Just apply from your phone or computer, then visit your local Aaron's to shop top brands like Samsung and GE with the confidence of knowing you're already approved. Aaron's, easy, beautiful, affordable. Approval is valid only at assigned store location. Not all stores participating. Approval is not guaranteed. Some restrictions apply.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to see how to turn browsers into buyers. Learn how FedEx can help take your business to the next level. This hour is also brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:28 is the time. Once again, a big shout out to Window Genie, second hour sponsor of Sports 56 Middays. They can take care of your home or business. They clean interior and exterior windows with their streak-free guarantee, but they do so much more. And right now, they're offering early specials on your holiday lighting. Window Genie will customize your lighting, install it, maintain it, and store it away. They do it all. You don't have to lift a finger. Get 15% off if you order by November 1st. Call Kate Robertson today at Window Genie, 901-424-4100. That's 901-424-4100. Ask for the Sports 56 special. All right, so another legend over the weekend passes away, and the Cardinals family has been hit extremely hard over the last several months. I forget what month it was that Lou Brock passed away. But now Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson died over the weekend. And you talk about one of the most feared pitchers in Major League Baseball history. A Hall of Famer went in on his first year of eligibility. In 1968, Bob Gibson was 22-9 with a 1.12 earned run average, 304 2/3 innings pitched. Tom Seaver died recently, another great legendary pitcher. Just sad news with some of these legends. I mean, look, we're all going to die. I understand that. But, man, oh, man, Lou Brock and then Bob Gibson for the Cardinals family. I know you're a big Cubs fan, but, my gosh, that's got to sting to all these loyal Cardinal followers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's, I like to have fun and, cheer against the Cardinals and all of that good stuff. But, yeah, you certainly don't want to see this. I mean, that's two of the, most legendary names there is in Cardinals history. Both lost in less than a month. So that's I feel for the Cardinal fans out there to have those two guys gone now.
Yeah, I couldn't remember how long ago or how recent it was with Lou Brock. I wasn't sure if it was a month ago or 2 months ago because all these days kind of blend. But I knew it wasn't that long ago that they lost Lou Brock, and now the legendary Bob Gibson. And again, he was just incredible. That World Series in '68. Was something to behold. The pitching just so dominant. And those pitchers back then, with whether it be Sandy Koufax with the Dodgers or Don Drysdale with the Dodgers or Denny McClain and Mickey Lolich with the Tigers in that World Series. Of course, Tom Terrific and Nolan was just a youngster then in '69 with the Miracle Mets. But my gosh, it's just sad because these are guys that I grew up getting their baseball cards and watching them on television. So it certainly hurts.
And then obviously was a was a tough night for the Cardinals on Friday night, too, with the loss, which I still can't believe they got shut out by the Padres in that game with the Padres pitching situation. But it was probably appropriate for the National League Central, for the Cardinals to go out that way. Every team, all 4 teams that got in from the National League Central were eliminated by being shut out in their final game.
Wow. And all 3 teams that made it from the American League Central were knocked out. So all 7 teams from the Central divisions in the American and National League combined that made the postseason were all eliminated in the wild card series.
But I do give the Cardinals credit. At least they did score some. They scored runs in their series, unlike the other teams in the Central. The Brewers scored 2, Reds scored 0, Cubs scored 1. Those 3 teams combined for 3 total runs in their series. I mean, it's...
And all we see is hitting during the regular season. All we see are these big explosions. Offense.
Not in the National League Central. I went over the stats at the end of the regular season that the Cubs, as bad as the Cubs offense was, it still scored more runs than any offense in the National League Central. And that's how bad the National League Central offenses were. And they showed it. Again, at least I give credit to the Cardinals. They did score against the Padres, except for the final game. But those other teams, I mean, it's just inept offense. They just cannot hit.
Well, I knew the Cardinals because I had predicted they would beat the Padres here on the show. And when they had the 6-2 lead and then the Padres got hot in that second game, I knew it was over. Even with Flaherty going in Game 3, I had a bad vibe about it. The Padres throw 9 pitchers and get a shutout in Game 3.
Again, 9 pitchers to throw a shutout. I'm stunned that the Cardinals could not score in that game with the pitching situation that the Padres had. That's a tough way to go out.
So the American League Divisional Series begins today. The National League Divisional Series begins tomorrow. We're down to 8 teams, so half of the playoff field. In the American League today, you have Houston and Oakland in Los Angeles. They'll play at Dodger Stadium. Houston, during the regular season against the A's, lost 7 of 10. 7 of 10. Oakland won 7 of the 10 games against Houston. The Yankees and Tampa Bay will play in San Diego at Petco. The Yankees lost 8 of 10 to the Rays. So the Rays won 8 of the 10 games against the Yankees. You have the first and second place teams from the American League West and the first and second place teams from the American League East. Tomorrow, the National League will begin. Miami, Atlanta, first place, second place from the NL East. They'll play in Houston. And then the Padres and the Dodgers, with the Dodgers first place, the Padres second place in the NL West, will play in Arlington, Texas. These are bubbles now, 4 different bubbles that these teams will be playing in.
Do you think in the Yankees-Rays series, will we see a bench clearing incident?
No. What would you? Would you lay some money on it?
I believe there will be at least the benches will clear at least once in that series. I mean, they had the incident already earlier this year,
right? Frowned upon by Rob Manfred and company. But
I think you get later in the series when it's apparent that one team is going to be eliminated. I have a feeling we could see it, but it wouldn't surprise me if it comes earlier than that. But I think people early on might be afraid of suspensions. So I think late in the series, if it gets to a point where one team is clearly going to lose their final game, then I think that's when we could see an incident.
We could, but I think
those two teams just hate each other.
I think we could see it in the Houston-Oakland series because now Houston and some of the players like Correa are opening their mouths. They're starting to open their mouths. Look at us now. Look at who's calling who cheaters and all that stuff. I mean, I could see Houston and Oakland getting into it. But you're right. New York and Tampa Bay certainly have the bad blood. In the National League, Miami has been the story. Just 105 losses 1 year ago. And now playing the Braves. And remember, the Braves did not give up a run to the Reds in 2 games, 22 innings worth of pitching. And then the Padres and the Dodgers. My gosh. Even though the Dodgers have a pretty darn good pitching staff, the Padres, if they're healthy, not bad, but I'm not sure what their situation is with their 2 guys, including Clevenger. But if you don't see fireworks in that game from offenses, I don't know when you will see it.
Well, that Braves Marlins, those 2 staffs, that's from the wild card round, 40 innings, 1 solo home run. That's the only run given up.
Wow.
1 solo home run by the Marlins. Ian Happ hit. Other than that, 39 shutout innings, and then one solo home run.
So who are you picking in these divisional series?
I think the National League will be the Dodgers and Braves. I think the American League will be, I'll go Rays and Astros.
You're going to take the Astros, okay. I love the Rays, but, man, the way the Yankees are starting to hit now, I picked the Rays to win the American League, but the National League, it's the Dodgers. That's my pick for the whole thing. When you asked me about would I take the Dodgers against the field, I said I'd take the Dodgers, so I like them. But I think you're right about Atlanta, even though Miami has been the surprise. And I guess I would lean toward – I think I'm going to lean toward Oakland. I'm going to lean toward Oakland. Houston, who do they have left in the staff that's healthy?
Well, tonight they're throwing, is it McCullers, I believe? Yeah, McCullers goes tonight.
Jeez, he's first game starter? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the pitching matchups in that series aren't exactly going to blow you away, that's for sure.
No.
But, I mean, you got Lance McCullers versus Chris Bassett in one game tonight. The other one is Garrett Cole versus Blake Snell. Slightly different in name recognition there of the pitching matchups in tonight's two games.
And, of course, Cole, the former Astro pitcher. So you got the Major League Baseball playoffs resuming today. The NBA Final will have a day off. Game 4 tomorrow in the bubble. And yesterday in game number 3, even though it wasn't an absolute must, it just about was for Miami. And the Heat get it done. They knock off the Lakers 115-104. They cut the Lakers' lead to 2-1. And Jimmy Butler was incredible. 40 points, 13 assists, 11 rebounds for their second straight game. They did not have Bam Adebayo. They did not have Goran Dragic. So they got enough from the supporting cast. Kelly Olynyk was really good, but Jimmy Butler was the dude. And while LeBron, put up okay numbers, I mean, pretty solid numbers. Anthony Davis did not put up the numbers he had been putting up, including his 32 and 14 in Game 2, and that may have been the difference. But give the Heat credit to make this a series now.
Yeah, you look at those rosters when you're talking about Adebayo and Dragic not being in there. I mean, that's a game that the Heat should never win. You should never win that. But Jimmy Butler, that's one of the all-time epic NBA Finals performances. The numbers are incredible. And, just had to basically single-handedly try and will that team. Plays nearly 45 minutes of the game, barely comes out because he really can't come out. He was totally exhausted at the end of that game. But it's just score 40 points in an NBA game without attempting a three-pointer. Think about that and it's not Shaq or something like that. 40 points without a three-point attempt. I mean, that was just an incredible performance by Jimmy Butler last night.
And I love what he said after the game. Rachel Nichols was interviewing him. He says, I don't care about a triple-double. I want to win, and I truly believe that. A lot of players would say that. I don't think I'd believe all those players. I think a lot of them, sure, they want to win, but they're in it also for their numbers. I don't believe Jimmy Butler is that type of player.
They started Myers Leonard at center, and they won a game in the NBA Finals.
Olynyk at 17 off the bench, including 3 threes. Tyler Hero at 17. They had the, like you said, Myers Leonard and Duncan Robinson. White, a lot of white dudes on that Miami Heat team.
Duncan, yeah, they've got that. I mean, again, that's a 3 white guy starting lineup they're trotting out there. You don't see that very often in the NBA Finals.
Butler also had 2 steals and 2 blocks. He's the 3rd player in NBA history to record a 40-plus point triple-double in the NBA Finals, joining LeBron James in 2015 and Jerry West in 1969. What about the fact that LeBron James, and I don't know if Anthony Davis walked off as well, but with 10 seconds to go, walked off the court, right to the locker room?
Yeah, that was a bad look for the. I mean, they barely could get 5 guys on the court to end the game with to inbound it there at the end. I don't understand that. Like I don't get
childish
what you're doing, what the point you're trying to prove. I don't understand any of that. It's you lost a game, so you're still up 2-1. First of all, You didn't have any problem talking after the first two games, and now all of a sudden you're walking off the court. I thought that was a really, really bad look for LeBron and for the Lakers as a whole.
I did as well. It was very, very childish for a guy who's mature and the leader. After the first quarter, also with the trash talk, which is fine. I mean, trash talk's going to be a part of sports. Didn't he say something to the effect of, we got you here, and then Butler came back in the fourth quarter after a timeout late in the game, and then reiterated kind of what LeBron said back to him, right?
He said that you're in trouble, and that's what Jimmy Butler was saying to them. He was saying, you're in trouble, and then he went over to his bench. He's like, they're in trouble. I mean, listen, Jimmy Butler earned the right to talk last night. The dude again turned in one of the most legendary NBA Finals performances you can imagine. He earned the right to talk. That doesn't mean you have to walk off the court 10 seconds early because you're crying about it. Just accept the loss. You still got a 2-1 lead. You're still probably going to win the series.
Yeah, again, that's the childish, at times, just childish things that this guy who's so mature does really bothers me. And that certainly did last night. I don't know if the Heat will win another game. I picked them to lose in 6, so I think they'll win another game. But even if they don't, that was an epic performance by Jimmy Butler. And at least now we have a series going into Game 4 tomorrow.
It looks like there's a decent chance Adebayo will be back for Game 4. They did make him available to the media today, which they normally do not make injured players available, although they are not committing that he will definitely be back. Dragic certainly is not going to be, but if they could get Adebayo, that's at least a little bit of help. And again, I'm stunned that the Lakers lost to a team that started Myers Leonard at center and didn't have two of their best players.
When we come back, we'll start our discussion of the National Football League weekend, which continues tonight with 2 games. We'll recap some of the games that happened yesterday. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and now 98.5 FM.
Let Dave Voloshin and Brett Nordsworthy take you home with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar? Your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
I'm so sick.
Ooh, honey.
Seriously? I'm sick.
Oh, honey, it's time for Dayquil Severe Honey. It's maximum strength cold and flu medicine with soothing, honeylicious taste.
I love you, honey.
And I love you.
I meant the Dayquil.
New Dayquil Severe Honey. The soothing, honeylicious daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, power through your day medicine. Use as directed.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to see how to turn browsers into buyers. Learn how FedEx can help take your business to the next level. This hour is also brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
5 favorite songs comes your way at 12:05. The topic today is girl. The word girl needs to be in the title of your song. You can text in with your list at 67129. If you're watching us live, you can message us with those lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Tonight, 2 games for Monday Night Football. They had to move the New England-Kansas City game after the positive test by quarterback Cam Newton, who will not be in action, obviously, for the Patriots. Jordan Ta'amu, the former Ole Miss quarterback, who's the backup to Patrick Holmes at Kansas City, also had a positive test. But everybody else was negative, so they're going to play this game tonight starting at 6:05. We'll have Monday Night Football, the regularly scheduled game, Atlanta, Green Bay. The pregame starts at 7, so you can hear Falcons-Packers tonight on our stations.
Great line by Chris Collinsworth last night. We were talking about the fact that other game had to be moved to Monday night, and that's the Jim Nantz Tony Romo game. And he said, "Well, I guess Tony Romo will be calling Monday Night Football after all."
Yes, that was sharp.
That was very, very well done by old Collinsworth on that one. Got some texts here I want to get to on the First Bank text line at 67129. Got one here that says, LeBron is a big crybaby. He wouldn't have made it in the Jordan, Bird, or Magic era, period.
He is a crybaby. He's a crybaby. Every time he's fouled, or not every time he fouled, every time they call a foul on him, he cries about it. Jordan didn't do that. I mean, he would complain at times.
No, they all complain.
He didn't complain every
complain.
LeBron James is never, in his mind, he's never committed a foul ever. Would he have? No, he would have adapted in any era. He's that type of a talented player where he would have been great in any era. So I disagree with that part. But the crybaby part, I agree with the texter.
He absolutely is going to be just fine in any era.
Right. There's no doubt.
6'9",
He's a freak.
260 athletes, they translate.
Right.
I don't care about the era that he played in. But, no, he threw a temper tantrum last night. I'm not going to get on him. Every player in the NBA believes they were fouled every time they missed a shot, and they believe they've never fouled anybody. So I'm not going to worry about. I mean, I'm not going to. I hate it when all of them do it, but I'm not singling him out because they all do that. Got another text here from a Mississippi State fan. So Saturday brought Mississippi State fans, including me, back down to earth. Last week was a lot of fun, and still thrilled to have Coach Leach. But they got too much hype for a bad coaching job by the LSU defense. Listen.
Hindsight's 20/20, but they're right.
I mean, they certainly were never going to be as good as what they looked against LSU. I don't think they're as bad as probably they looked against Arkansas. They're probably going to be somewhere in between. But in the first year under Leach, especially when there's not necessarily the right guys possibly to have to run that system as much, there's going to be some ups and downs. Mike Leach has had ups and downs everywhere he's been. I mean, in that system, you're going to have some games where everything's clicking and it looks great. You're going to have other games where it just doesn't work.
Well, we also didn't take into consideration that we should have how depleted LSU was. So after what Costello did to them, instead of looking at LSU and going, man, they're just a shell of themselves. This is not the national championship team from a year ago by any stretch of the imagination. We looked more like at the Mike Leach offense that we've seen him produce wherever he's been, whether it's Washington State, whether it's Texas Tech. And so we got on that bandwagon very quickly. I still think Mississippi State could be a lot of fun. They don't have a ton of weapons, and when you lose Kylan Hill, that's big. But let's give a little credit to Arkansas as well. They have a different mindset with Sam Pittman. They're back to old style football, basically. They're not slinging it around the field. They're playing physical in the trenches. They're running the ball. Even though they lost their stud running back in Boyd, they were able to do enough. So, yeah, I think we kind of went overboard after Mississippi State's opening victory, but I don't think we should diminish what Mike Leach and Mississippi State could possibly do with that offense the rest of the way. I think they're going to win some games.
They're going to be fun. I mean, that's the number one thing. They're going to be fun. It's going to be a lot more fun to watch and to be a fan of, because they're going to put some games and they'll beat teams. He's done his whole career. He'll beat some teams he probably shouldn't. Now they might lose to some teams they shouldn't as well, but he's going to make it fun. He's going to make it entertaining. Raider Corey texted on the First Bank text line, says, Eli, I feel your pain. Cubs couldn't hit. Cowboys defense is non-existent. Tigers lose. Raiders can't stop giving up 30 points each week, and the Cardinals can't pitch. But it is a beautiful day outside. By the way,
it is a beautiful day.
It is. Man, this weather we have had here
it's
recently.
It's October, man.
This is just we are at a just perfect weather pattern right now. This stuff is absolutely perfect. Just on that note, on one little final note on my Cubs and their offensive patheticness. Mm-hmm. Is patheticness a word?
It is today.
I like it. The combination the combination of four guys: Anthony Rizzo, Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber. That was the nucleus, the main nucleus of the World Series championship team in 2016, and are all now kind of supposed to be getting into their primes. Since the 2016 World Series, in the postseason, so this is a 2017 Division Series and NLCS, the wild card game in 2018, the wild card series this year, those four guys are a combined 22 for 164. That is a 134 batting average. The highest batting average, the head of the Delta Pledge class, Chris Bryant, hitting 166, 9 out of 54 in that time. That he is the best of that foursome.
What's their contract situations? Because they got to break up the gang.
All four of those guys are in contract years next year.
Yeah. Look, you got to break it up. It's just it worked for a while there. Obviously, they got a World Series title, but there's
the problem is this. Though. The problem is this: all of those guys are coming off. Well, yeah, it would be probably the worst year of their career. So you can trade them now? With their value as at an all-time low?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's just a bad streak. I think they're.
I wanted to trade Kyle Schwarber 4 years ago, and I wanted them to trade Chris Bryant after last year. That didn't happen. But if you trade them now, you're literally trading them at their lowest value they've ever had.
Well, that's a great point. But Schwarber to me has always been like a pinch hitter. He shouldn't even be a starter. He's like a pinch hitter.
The guy hit 38 home runs last year.
I know, but he's a home runner bust guy. So he's a big bat to come up in a situation where you're down by
2020.
2. You're down by 2. You got 2 runners on. You bring up Schwarber. He hits a 3-run home run, or he whiffs. Look, I feel your pain, dude. The Phillies are in a different situation. The Phillies didn't even make the playoffs, and they didn't make the playoffs not because of lack of hitting, because of a bullpen that is horrific. So what did they do? They demoted the general manager. Matt Klentak was demoted, not fired, demoted, given another job within the organization because he didn't supply enough pitching in the middle innings and in the last innings of the game to hold leads. So Joe Girardi, I'm sure, went to the owner and said, we got to get somebody in here who knows how to get me a staff. Starting pitching was okay, but the relief pitching was the worst in baseball. I don't know if the numbers will support that, but my eyes do. So everybody has their issues, except for the Dodgers.
Somebody says, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the Cowboys have a strong defense last year? What happened? Well, you've got a new defensive coordinator, and you've got a lot of new guys. They let some guys go. They also have some injuries on this team, but it's just this new system isn't working with these guys. They don't get pressure on the quarterback. They can't tackle. They're horrendous. And I mean, the secondary can't guard anybody. Like, it's just, the secondary is absolutely terrible. But yeah, I mean, so a lot of it is new guys because they let guys walk and weren't going to sign any big time free agents.
So you think a defense giving up 49 is bad?
They could have given up more. That's what I feel like. I don't even understand how they ever stop anybody.
The Cleveland Browns are 3-1, my friends.
Somebody else says new name for the Cowboys, the Alice Cowboys, because they ain't got no D.
The Alice Cowboys.
ALLAS.
Okay.
So you take the D out of Dallas, you're left with Alice.
I got you.
Somebody else says Arkansas has had a great start. Hung with Georgia for 3 quarters. Defense of Barry Odom has been incredible. Yeah, listen. Give Arkansas credit. I mean, what was their over under for wins was 1.5, I think.
I think it might have been 1. It was 1 or 1.5.
I can't remember. I think they were 1.5 and Vanderbilt was 1, if I remember correctly. Let me look this up here.
And does Sam Pittman fit the nickname better than any coach in America? Just a hog, just big offensive lineman. Just that's what you want in a coach, like Bielema was.
Arkansas was 1.5. They're halfway there. I mean, listen. Yeah, they've played 6 great quarters out of the 8 they've played.
We will get to all of the NFL at 12:25, and for the rest of the show after that. But when we return, you know it, you love it, you can't live without it. It's 5 favorite songs in an incredibly tough topic. Girls. The word girl needs to be in the title of your song. If you haven't texted in your list yet, what are you waiting for? 67129 First Bank text line. Or if you're watching us live, you can message us with the lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. This is Sports 56 Middays.
Kevin Harlan here from Westwood One with a preview of Monday Night Football. NFC action in prime time this week as Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons travel to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. Packers are off to a hot 3-0 start, and second-year head coach Matt LaFleur has won over a lot of fans, including his star quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think many teams look at us and think we have a number of stars that they're really worried about. Obviously, Aaron Jones is such a talented guy, and you got to try and take him away, but you never know really whose day it's going to be. I've said it a lot, but I just feel so much more comfortable in the offense this year. And I think Matt, has really settled into the rhythm of the play calling.
Join Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and me for all the action when the Packers take on the Falcons on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
I'm so sick.
Ooh, honey.
Seriously? I'm sick.
Oh, honey, it's time for DayQuil Severe Honey. It's maximum strength cold and flu medicine with soothing, honeylicious taste.
I love you, honey.
And I love you.
I meant the DayQuil.
New DayQuil Severe Honey. The soothing, honeylicious daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, power through your day medicine. Use as directed.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters. We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, WPGFLP Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to see how FedEx can help you start, grow, and efficiently manage your business. This hour is also brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
We welcome you back. Final hour today here on Sports 56 Middays, the Monday, October 5th, 2020 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn. We are in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Again, the world's biggest spa sale going on right now. When you stop by to check that out or whatever else they're offering, which is always delightful. Call it the playground for adults at Family Leisure Studios. Not in that way, you know, good stuff, fun stuff. And you can pick up a Sports 56 mask right there at Family Leisure while supplies last. The official Sports 56 mask.
What do you mean fun stuff? Stuff's not fun?
I know. I was getting myself in trouble, so I was trying to pull back on that one. East Memphis Ace Hardware, third hour sponsor of Middays, 5143 Quince Road, right next door to Billy Hardwick's All-Star Lanes. Online at acehardware.com where you get free shipping. Call them at 901-683-8688 for convenience, service, knowledge, and price. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware, open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 7, Sunday, 10 until 4. We got 5 favorite songs coming up here in just a moment. Then we'll get into the NFL. Again, a double dip tonight with the Kansas City Chiefs and New England Patriots. And then we'll have the Falcons and the Packers at 7. College football coaches making their Monday rounds, as they always do after a game, and leading into a new game. Jeremy Pruitt, the Tennessee Vols head coach, on Georgia. One of the best teams college football has seen in recent years. They don't have a weakness. Some of the words from Jeremy Pruitt today at his Monday presser on the Hill. It is time now for our 5 favorite songs.
Five favorite songs.
All right, the topic is girls. Girls. I need girl in the title of your song, the word girl. Text in at 67129 on the First Bank text line if you haven't done so already. If you're watching us live, you can message us with the lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. I pulled the little hair I have left on my head, Eli, out yesterday doing this one. There was a ton of really, really good songs.
Yeah, there were some good ones to choose from here. Good ones to choose from. I've actually left a few out just because I'd used them previously on some lists, so that was one way of kind of narrowing some things down. But yeah, this was good. This was good stuff.
All right, well, you'll be first, then me, then Gabe, and then we'll get to our listeners' lists.
All right. Honorable mention. I want to give an honorable mention. You actually just mentioned it. Girls, Girls, Girls by Motley Crue.
I didn't know.
I just like to give Motley Crue a reference anytime I can. And I used to also, when I was young, I remember having a mixtape that I made that had Girls, Girls, Girls on it. So by Motley Crue. So
Did you have your earring in while you made the mixtape?
No, I did not. That was before my earring days. But yeah, so go get a Motley Crue. Number five on my list. To all the girls I've loved before, Willie Nelson and Julio Iglesias. Got to get Julio in there.
They did a duet?
Yes.
I thought it was separate songs that they did. Like the same song, but they did it separately.
No. Number 4, California Girls by the Beach Boys. Number 3, My Girl, The Temptations. Number 2, Fat Bottom Girls by Queen. And number 1,
She couldn't help thinking that there was a little more life somewhere else. After all, it was a great big world with lots of places to run to. Yeah, if she had to die trying, she that one little promise she was gonna keep. Oh yeah, alright. Take it easy, baby. Make it last all night. She was an American girl.
the great Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers with American Girl.
Could have went with another Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers girl song. Right?
Here Comes That Girl, right?
Here Comes My Girl.
My
Yeah.
Girl, or is it?
Is it My Girl? But yeah, that was another good one I saw. I like your list a lot. I like all the songs on your list. None of them made my list. That's how tough I thought this category was. I probably had a solid 15 to 20 that could have been on my list. My number 5, Rich Girl, Hall & Oates. Number 4, The Girls in Their Summer Clothes by Bruce Springsteen. Number 3, the classic Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. Number 2, Jesse's Girl, Rick Springfield. And here's my number 1.
Every new boy that you meet doesn't know the real surprise. Here she comes again when she's dancing beneath the starry sky. Oh, she'll make you feel. Here she comes again when she's dancing beneath the starry sky. I kinda like the way she dips. She's my best friend's girl.
My best friend's girl, The Cars.
Did you have that at number 1 for best?
I may have.
I think you did. I had a number 2 on that list.
It rang a bell when I was putting the list together last night. Like, I think I've had this song before, but I gave it its love again. It's just a great song.
I would have probably had that in my list had I not used it previously on a list. Brown Eyed Girl, I definitely would have had on my list but I've used that a couple of times. So I want to give equal opportunity here to I have never had the Beach Boys on a list. So, the Temptations don't make it much. So I want to give a little opportunity for some others. Julio Iglesias, you got to get these guys in.
You're for all the people, man.
I am.
You're all for all the people. You want to spread the love. I love what you're doing
absolutely
here.
Right. Give Motley Crue, give Julio Iglesias, give the Beach Boys, the Temptations. I come back to some favorites for like Tom Petty and Queen, but I like to mix in some other things when possible.
I hated to have to keep Fat Bottom Girls off the list, but I did. And the one that has not been mentioned yet, and I'm sure it'll be on somebody's list, that I had at number 5 and I crossed it out at the last second, was Cinnamon Girl by Neil Young. Crossed it out, and I put Rich Girl on from Hall & Oates.
Okay, I do not have Cinnamon Girl. I'll tell you that right now.
It's a
but
great song.
I
Listen
like
to it, my
Eli,
friend.
wanted to give love where it was deserved. So I have an honorable mention. It's came up before. I think I took us to the break one day on it. Big Girls Don't Cry by Fergie.
There
we go. Now let's start the list. This gets progressively worse. So don't.
Do you go with Big Girls Don't Cry by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons?
No.
Yeah,
at 5, I go California Girls by Katy Perry.
Oh, gosh.
You guys both missed out. I don't know what you're doing. 4, Sweetest Girl by Wyclef Jean. 3, I went Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield. 2, Fat Bottom Girls by Queen. And my number 1, it was on both your lists, I believe. Or no, might not have been on Eli's list. It wasn't on Eli's list, but it was on yours, Greg.
days when the rains came down in the hollow, playing a new game, laughing and a running, hey, hey, skipping and a jumping in the misty morning fog with our hearts that thumping and you, my brown-eyed girl.
Who else you know goes from California Girls to Brown Eyed Girl?
Katy
Van
Perry.
Morrison.
Van Morrison.
I am. First of all, that is a great. Again, the only reason I left off my list because I'd used it a couple times before, but that's what I love. That song. That's one of my favorite songs. I can't believe you went Katy Perry and didn't go with "I Kissed a Girl."
California Girls, just it's a better song. It's a better song.
First of all,
"I Kissed a Girl" was not in. It was not up for it. Didn't even have it in my top 10.
I know it's a different song than the Beach Boys' California Girls, but if you're going to use California Girls, it has to be the Beach Boys.
Exactly.
And then if not, you go with didn't David Lee Roth also do California Girls?
You just basically told me that we have to go to break to California Girls by Katy Perry. That's what you just told me.
I do like Katy Perry. I saw her down in Oxford at the Ole Miss game. I think she's pretty darn good. But no, she would not have made this list. This list is too strong.
I did consider "I Kissed a Girl" by Katy Perry. It was way down the list, but I did consider it.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down, but I don't think it was going to come into
the song I actually really wanted to get on my list, but I just couldn't. Was "Girl Crush" by Little Big Town. It's a fantastic song, but I couldn't get that one in there.
All right, what do our listeners have today? I'm sure this will be pretty eclectic.
All right, let's see here. Carolyn has "Girl from the North County," Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan. Number 4, "Girls in the Hood" by Megan Thee Stallion. Number 3, Girls, Girls, Boys by Panic at the Disco. You familiar with that one? Is that your Panic at the Disco song?
No.
What's your Panic at the Disco song?
Is it 9 in the afternoon? Is that what it's called?
Keep waiting for that thing to appear on a list.
I'll have to look it up and get the proper
You haven't had
title
Panic
of the
at the Disco yet, and I'm mad.
Yeah, it's 9 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Let's see. "She Used to Be My Girl" by the OJs.
Good song.
And number 1, "My Girl," The Temptations. Has honorable mention to "Girl Crush" by Harry Styles. So just kidding. "All the Party Girls," Kenny Chesney is the honorable mention. Can't believe you didn't go Harry Styles' "Girl Crush" there, Greg.
I don't know his discography. Is that how you pronounce that word? The person that had all their songs. Is it discography?
Discography?
Discography, yeah.
Fred G. Sanford checks in. "My Best Friend's Girl," "Fat Bottom Girls," "Barbie Girl" by Aqua at number 3. Number 2, "Don't the Girls All Get Prettier at Closing Time" by Mickey Gilley.
Boy, it's true.
I'm
kidding.
That is an extremely true statement. That is, I can answer that, Fred G. Sanford. They do. Number 1, "Lying is the most fun a girl can have without taking her clothes off" by Panic at the Disco.
They're all over the place.
You had all these Panic at the Disco options, and you used none of them.
I don't know their songs,
And you call yourself a Panic at the Disco fan. Let's see here. Number 5, "That Girl" by Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Number 4, "Nobody's Girl" by Bonnie Raitt. Number 3, "Mixed Up, Shook Up Girl" by Boz Scaggs.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, "Tomorrow's Girls" by Donald Fagen. And number 1, "China Girl," Iggy Pop version.
Of David Bowie's song.
Let's see here. "Bobby in Midtown." Number 5, "That Girl Could Sing" by Jackson Brown. Number 4, "Stupid Girl" by the Rolling Stones. Number 3, "Thank You Girl" by John Hyatt. Number 2, "Can I Sit Next to You Girl" by AC/DC. And number 1, "Girl in Motion" by Nils Lofgren.
Yeah, Nils Lofgren, part of the Bruce Springsteen E Street Band.
Okay. Downtown Leo. Number 5, "Some Girls," Rolling Stones. Number 4, Good Girls Don't" by The Knack.
Oh, man. Great song. Didn't even consider that yesterday. I didn't even think about it. Good Girls
Number 3,
Don't.
"Don't Take the Girl," Tim McGraw. Number 2, "Here Comes My Girl," Tom Petty. And number 1, "American Girl," Tom Petty. Going a little Tom Petty two-step there for Downtown Leo. Zed, honorable mention, Valley Girl, Frank Zappa. Number 5, Island Girl, Elton John. Number 4, Girls Got Rhythm, AC/DC. Number 3, American Girl, Tom Petty. Number 2, Don't Take the Girl, Tim McGraw. And number 1, Brown Eyed Girl. Let's see. Raider Chorus, this is the most challenging category, cutting it down to 5. Number 5, The Girl Is Mine, Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney. Number 4, Bad Girls, Donna Summer.
Yeah, that was one I really considered. I love Donna Summer, man.
Number
Late Donna
3,
Summer.
Girl on Fire, Alicia Keys. Number 2, Brown Eyed Girl. And number 1, the most beautiful girl in the world, Prince.
Didn't Charlie Rich also do one like that? Most beautiful girl in the world? You're a country guy. Or Charlie Rich, behind closed doors, Charlie Rich?
Sure, why not? I'll say he did.
And we had a mention yet of Girls on Film by Duran Duran.
I'll agree, and Circle will get the square.
I think, happened to see the most beautiful girl in the world. And if she did, was she crying? You don't remember that?
Oh, dear goodness. What do I need to say to make you stop?
I don't know.
Okay. Let's see. Number 5, Fat Bottom Girl. Number 4, Big Girls Don't Cry. Number 3, Young Girl Get Out of My Mind.
Yes, that's Gary Puckett in the Union Gap.
Number 2, Brown Eyed Girl. And number 1, Doggone Girl Is Mine, Michael Jackson. Ray in Cordova, he has a note. He notes, left off several songs that appeared on previous lists. Honorable mention, Waiting for a Girl Like You, Foreigner. An Island Girl, Elton John. Number 5, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Cyndi Lauper. Yeah, let's give Cyndi Lauper some love. Number 4, American Girl. Number 3, Jesse's Girl. Number 2, My Girl, Smokey Robinson. And number 1, Rich Girl, Hall & Oates.
Ooh, number 1 on Ray's list.
Goes to Hall & Oates for number 1. Let's see, number 5 here, Best Friend's Girl. Number 4, Girls, 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 Motley Crue. That'll, baby. Get some Motley Crue love. Number 3, Brown Eyed Girl. Number 2, California Girls. And number 1, Fat Bottom Girls.
Which California Girls?
Beach Boys.
Okay.
The real version. Let's see here on Facebook.
I mean, they're totally different songs, so we can't just group the California Girls. You can't call it the real one when it's not the second one.
Right.
It's not a remake.
Right.
Right.
Right. You can if you're
like
if you're,
Snoop Dogg is in the second one. Okay, so we're not gonna.
Well, it's like you're battling.
They're not even similar.
David Lee Roth versus the Beach Boys, because David Lee Roth did that song after.
Yeah, that would be fair.
Yeah.
But Katy Perry, no,
is a different song.
Yeah,
right. Same title, different song.
Completely different.
Yeah.
John on Facebook, to all the girls I've loved before, Julio and Willie. Girls, Girls, Girls. Big Girls Don't Cry by the Four Seasons. Jesse's Girl. And Gun Street Girl by Tom Waits. Honorable mention to Here Comes My Girl and My Little Whiskey Girl by Toby Keith. Bobby on Facebook, Girl on Fire at number 5. Number 4, Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others, The Smiths. Number 3, Girl on the Billboard, Del Reeves. Number 2, Kiss a Girl, Keith Urban. And number 1, My Girl, The Temptations. Honorable mention to You're the Prettiest Girl at the Dance, Lawrence Welk. Andrew on Facebook, My Girl. Number 4, Gimme That Girl, Joe Nichols. Number 3, American Girl. Number 2, Fat Bottom Girls. And number 1, Kiss a Girl by Keith Urban. John also mentions What's Your Name, Little Girl by Leonard Skinnard. Is that the full title? I thought that song was just What's Your Name.
Yeah, when you said that, I didn't think that jived on me. I have to look that up.
I always felt like that. I always thought the name of that song was What's Your Name, but maybe the little girl is in there. I don't know.
It could be in the parentheses or whatever. Let me see. What's your name, little girl? What's your name, little girl? Wait. Sometimes it'll show it, yes, and I think it's What's Your Name. What's your name? Yeah. Yeah, What's Your Name? Not.
Is it that time? I always
Yeah.
thought the name of that song was just What's Your Name, but I didn't know.
It is just What's Your Name.
So there we go.
What's your name?
That is our list. Okay, so what's our topic for tomorrow?
Well, this is actually good because John, was it John who said? Yeah, he on Facebook says, have we done the word best or better yet? We have done best. That one we've already done. We have not done better, though. That's what we're going to do for tomorrow. We're going to do better. We can do better than best.
Can we do better than today, tomorrow?
We shall see, but better. Not best. We've already done best. Better only.
All right. When we come back, NFL talk the rest of the way. We'll recap the games from yesterday, look ahead to the 2 Monday night games, some other news and notes, and the Titans get some positive news, but it's actually good.
So hold on. I got a list here from Brian.
Okay.
He has 5 Fat Bottom Girls, 4 girls. He has number 3, California Girls by David Lee Roth.
Yeah. So
he goes the David Lee Roth first. So we now have 3 different California Girls.
Right.
2 Beautiful Girls by Van Halen.
Another good one.
And number 1, Summertime Girls by Y&T. Anybody know who that is?
No. So here's Katy Perry. Here's her California Girls to take
Don't
us
sound
to the break.
so excited.
I'm telling you, the better song for Katy Perry was I Kissed a Girl.
Enjoy it. We'll be right back.
Now put your hands up.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
It's back. The Carhartt Crazy Sale at Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch. Visit Frontier this month for huge markdowns on clearance Carhartt items. The latest fall line just launched, and Frontier is fully stocked. We've got jeans, shirts, bib overalls, jackets, coats, gloves, belts, boots, and more. And to make room for the new items, we've discounted a number of short sleeve plaids and t-shirts. Save up to 50%. All Carhartt jeans are now $5 off. This is the last jean sale of the year, so stock up now for yourself or someone else for the upcoming holidays. Christmas will be here before you know it, so you might as well save some cash now on what you know you'll need. All this month, we are including a buy one, get one half price sale on all novelty t-shirts by Simply Southern, Girly Girl, Live Oak, and more. It's the Carhartt Crazy Sale and more. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch. On the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage. Factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why...
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together...
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
Napa know-how.
At Napa, you can buy a 5-quart jug of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $27.99. And as a bonus, you'll score a $10 gift card by mail-in rebate. That's like a cherry on top of the cherry on top of your oil change. So get $10 back by mail when you buy a jug of Mobil 1. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales price does not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 10/31/20.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me for Sidelines Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1 FM. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, recruiting. Hey, if they keep score, we're covering it. Check us out on the website at sports56whbq.com and sidelines.live. Sidelines is brought to you by Duncan Williams Asset Management. Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Get up and give us a call.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to see how FedEx can help you start, grow, and efficiently manage your business. This hour is also brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I was a highwayman. Along the coach roads I did ride. With sword and pistol by
Somebody
my
texted it, and I'm
side.
glad they did, because this is one I probably should have done an honorable mention, but I thought some people would give it some love. We did not have.
You're depending on people to give things love.
We did not
you
have
gotta love
one,
it yourself.
We did not have one mention of West End Girls by Pet Shop Boys. And by golly, Pet Shop Boys deserve their time.
I wrote that one down on my list at
I
home.
absolutely considered that. I actually like that song.
We also didn't get Girls on Film.
Today is, by the way, speaking of that, today is National Do Something Nice Day. So
don't look at me.
Do something nice today. It's also National Get Funky Day. Which one will you do today? Will you get funky or will you do something nice?
I'll try to get funky.
Yeah, of course you will. I'd rather do something nice. I would rather do something nice.
Not against the law to do both.
Well, you're correct. Like mentioning the Pet Shop Boys. I think that's something nice.
That counts?
That's this person, whoever texted that in, you've done your good deed. The Pet Shop Boys deserve their love. Although they did put it as Pet Sop Boys. That's a different band altogether, I believe. The Pet Sop Boys, I'm not sure if I've ever heard them, but the Pet Shop Boys I do like.
It's like the Pep Boys. They didn't write that song either. It's the Pet Shop Boys, not the Pep Boys. Is that the name of the automotive place? The Pep Boys?
Yes.
Is that what it is? All right, so the Tennessee Titans received some negative news, which is actually positive. The Titans received no new positive COVID-19 test results this morning, according to multiple sources. They are getting set to play Buffalo, hopefully this weekend at home. Remember, their game against the Steelers that was scheduled for yesterday was postponed until later this year. Now, the NFL and the NFL Players Association are investigating whether the Titans, who have had now 20 members of their organization test positive for COVID-19 this season, violated the league's coronavirus-related protocols, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. Officials from the NFL and the NFL Players Association have been in Tennessee since Friday, seeking answers to an issue that some sources believe ultimately will wind up with the league making an example of the Titans. Why did they end up showing up there? I don't think you want to be anywhere close to there. Do this over the phone on a Zoom call, or maybe just a freaking text or two. But they actually have arrived there, so good luck with you people on the Tennessee Titans premises there, trying to get these answers figured out and not contract the virus yourself. All right, so tonight, as we mentioned, 2 games. The Falcons-Packers game will be the regularly scheduled game. You got the undefeated Packers and the winless Falcons, who have blown 3 double-digit leads. We'll have that game for you starting at 7 with the pregame. The game will kick at around 7:50. But at 6 o'clock Central Time, you got the Patriots and the Chiefs. And the Patriots will not have Cam Newton. And the starting quarterback will be Brian Hoyer. So Jarrett Stidham, who was all the talk back in the spring, that, Jarrett Stidham, how's he going to lead the Patriots once Brady decided to move on and go to the Buccaneers? Jarrett Stidham, they must love Jarrett Stidham. Then they signed Hoyer, who's been with the Patriots 3 different times, and then they got Cam Newton. Hoyer, according to everything I saw yesterday on the countdown shows and all the preview shows was that he actually played better than Stidham, and that's why he's been suiting up as the backup to Cam Newton. And now Stidham will be the backup to Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer, a little bit different quarterback than Cam Newton as they get ready to play a pretty formidable opponent in the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough situation there for the Patriots. Chiefs are pretty good. This just in. Chiefs are pretty good. My favorite. I don't remember who tweeted it yesterday, but I got a good kick out of somebody tweeted. See, I told you Cam couldn't stay healthy. Not one time in his 19 years in New England did Tom Brady test positive for COVID-19.
Pretty amazing, though, that no other positive tests with the Patriots. Cam may have gotten it from one of those fur coats he wore in. May have just popped off the fur coat right up his nostrils. I don't know. That's just crazy. I mean, he has been playing well. He's been playing well. Good thing for them, though, that they could play the game tonight.
Yeah,
but it will be a challenge.
That's the good thing is they're able to at least get this game in and not have to try and postpone it and figure out a way to make it work. Because again, right now I guess is the time to be able to do it because you still got bye weeks after these teams start using up their bye weeks. If postponements start happening, that's going to be a real problem. And then I don't know how the NFL is going to handle that.
All right, so the former quarterback of the Patriots, Tom Brady, now with Tampa, had a pretty darn good game for a 43-year-old. 30 of 46, 369 yards, 5 touchdown passes, 1 pick. Bucs were down 17 to the Chargers, and they rally for a 38-31 win to improve to 3-1. Justin Herbert starts again for the Chargers. He was 20 of 25 for 290, 3 touchdowns and a pick. I think Anthony Lynn now has to change his tune. When Tyrod Taylor's ready to come back, there's no way he can start him. Justin Herbert has been really, really good, even in the loss. But Tom Brady, throwback Tom Brady with 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, technically 6 since the Chargers did get a touchdown off of one of his passes too. But yeah,
he won't count that.
The second half of that game, I don't know where the Chargers offense went. What happened? I don't know if that was just good adjustments or what. But man, 7 points in the second half, none in the fourth quarter for the Chargers after they looked great early on in that game. Herbert and the offense was just kind of doing whatever they wanted. They lose Austin Eckler, which was a big loss, but he was throwing the ball all over, looked really good, and all of a sudden, the Buccaneer defense kind of figured everything out in that second half.
Look, I think they have a quarterback for the future. I don't know if he's going to be a great quarterback, but I think he's going to be a very serviceable quarterback. But you lose now Eckler. Mike Williams has been in and out. You have all types of injuries with the Chargers, and that's derailed them.
How weird will it be, though, if they do now decide that they're going to stick with Herbert, that Tyrod Taylor's last 2 stops with the Browns, he's the starting quarterback, goes out with an injury, they bring in Baker Mayfield, and they keep saying, no, Tyrod Taylor's our starter, but then eventually like, no, we're going to go with Baker Mayfield, goes to San Diego or goes to L.A., he's our starting quarterback when he gets healthy, and then if they end up doing it to him again, then he just can't help but to get hurt early in a season and then lose his starting job, even though the coach insists that he's still the starting quarterback.
Yeah, the unwritten rule is you don't lose your job because of an injury, and I like Anthony Lynn. I wouldn't be shocked if he turned around and said, no, Taylor's still my quarterback, but I don't know how you can go with Taylor. What Justin Herbert does, now he doesn't give you that dimension of, he can run if he has to, but he's not Taylor. But he can throw the damn ball all over the field. I mean, he's just a kid. He's getting his feet wet in the NFL. So I think they have a quarterback for the future. So that's the good news. Cleveland and Dallas, again, you've already illustrated how bad that Dallas defense is. They give up 49 to the Browns. They had to make a furious rally to make it interesting. They were able to rally big time against Atlanta and win the other week, but weren't able to do it here as Cleveland, after it became a close game, late scored a touchdown. Dak Prescott, first quarterback in NFL history to throw 3 straight 450-plus passing yard games. This one he went over 500 with 4 touchdowns and a pick. And Odell Beckham Jr. looked like the old Odell Beckham Jr., the star OBJ. 5 catches, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 rushes, 73 yards, and a touchdown. The Browns got the ball into their playmakers' hands. Baker Mayfield didn't have to sling it around 50 times. I was impressed by what Cleveland did offensively, but a lot of it aided by the Cowboys' inept defense, as you've alluded to.
They got 307 rushing yards, and Nick Chubb was hurt. He got hurt early in the game, and they still rack up 307 rushing yards.
Kareem Hunt's not bad, but 307 yards. It's like the Kentucky team that had 3 100-yard rushers and still lost to Ole Miss.
I mean, Dearness Johnson running all over the Cowboys.
Dearness Johnson. Dearness Johnson goes to, what was the old Ernest? Remember the old Ernest movies?
Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yeah, Ernest Goes to Camp.
Dontrell Hillard. These are former American Conference.
Related to Dalton Hilliard?
It's Tulane and South Florida running all over the Cowboys defense. The tackling was so bad. It's just so. They're so bad defensively.
Yeah, they still have a chance in the NFC East.
Well, yeah, they're
half
a game out, I guess. Is that how you consider with a tie versus a loss? It's just. And they've got, 9? They lead the league in turnovers now. So it's just everything's. Oh, gosh. I mean, they should be 0-4. Like, their one win was a miracle.
Right.
But it's just like, they can't hold on to the ball. They can't tackle anybody. It's the only good thing is I don't have to watch Jason Garrett clapping on the sideline after every one of those turnovers now.
Well, the Cowboys in the offseason decided, hey, let's go get every pass rusher known to man, and then now that they can rush a passer, they can't stop the run at all. It's pretty incredible. I will say this, though.
The Browns not even rushing the passer that good. Alden Smith is getting there, but nobody else is.
The Browns hired Bill Callahan as their O-line coach, and he's been fantastic in coaching O-line. So I think that's a lot of what you saw yesterday is the Browns getting better.
And a real head coach.
As far as the running game goes.
Their running game
Kevin
is
Stefanski
awesome.
now. It's a whole different ballgame.
Now, Chubb, they say, is going on injury reserve. He's going to miss, I think, like maybe 6 weeks. But if there is a team prepared to lose their starting running back, it's them because you do have Kareem Hunt, a former leading rusher in the league. But their running attack is, with that offensive line, and when you do have Chubb and Hunt both healthy, man, that is a load to try and handle.
Makes it a lot easier for Baker Mayfield. It doesn't put the pressure on him. OBJ has really made some big plays. Yeah, Cleveland, I don't know how good they are, but they're 3-1, and they've been pretty impressive in getting to 3-1. Seattle beat Miami 31-23. The Langer on Thursday picked Miami in an upset, did he not?
I don't know if he said they were win. He said they were going to cover.
What was the line?
It was like 4.5 or something like that.
Yeah, so they didn't. They did 8-point win for Seattle. Wilson was solid again, 24 of 34, 360, 2 touchdowns and a pick. They did get Chris Carson back, and he was 16 carries for 80 yards and a couple of touchdowns. So a solid win for Seattle. I think Miami's improved. I think Brian Flores is a good defensive mind. I think they're pretty good, and it's still Ryan Fitzpatrick. We'll see how much longer. It's not like they're losing because of him, but will they eventually make that switch this year? I would think they would to Tua Tagovailoa. The New Orleans Saints, they spot Detroit 14 on the road, and they rally, and they score 35, and they hold off the Lions 35-29.
The Lions, it's unbelievable. They get a lead, many times a double-digit lead, in like every game they play, and then lose. And Matt Patricia is running out of answers for the questions about why his team continues to blow big leads in every game. So when we arrived, we had a lot of work to do. We're trying to do that. Well, it's not working. The work you're doing right now, not working at all.
I don't know if any coach can win there. Just one of those situations. They just don't win. Stafford throws 3 touchdowns. He did have 1 pick. He does his thing. I mean, they got old man Adrian Peterson scoring touchdowns. They can't hold a 14-point lead. Also on Sunday, Joe Burrow gets his first win. Cincinnati improves to 1-2-1. They beat Jacksonville 33-25. Joe Mixon had a big game. He was questionable for the game, whether or not he'd play. 25 totes, 151, couple of touchdowns, caught 6 passes for 30 yards and a touchdown. I figured the Bengals to win this one. I just thought Burrow would be the difference maker, and he was. Did you hear what he did with the game ball he was given?
No.
After the game, they give Joe Burrow the game ball, his first ever NFL win. He thanks them. He takes the ball and he throws it back into the bag where the rest of the balls are. He said, "Yeah, this is a good one. We'll need it for next time." He's a different cat, Joe Burrow.
The way you mentioned Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon was questionable. He goes off. Chris Carson was questionable. He goes off.
Right.
All these guys, for fantasy football purposes, you didn't know if you could put them in, and then if you did, you got paid off because they went nuts in the games.
Carolina beat Arizona 31-21, excuse me. And they're 2-0 now without Christian McCaffrey. That's just a coincidence, but I like Teddy Bridgewater. I loved Carolina in this game. He went 26 of 37 for 276, a couple of touchdowns, one pick. He had 6 rushes for 32 yards and a touchdown. Murray completed 24 of 31, but for only 133 yards. So he wasn't throwing the ball down the field. He did have 6 rushes for 78 yards, but Carolina and Arizona both 2-2.
Yeah, I know a lot of people got excited about Arizona after those first couple of games, but they're just not. They're not there yet. There's still a lot of work to do in Arizona.
The Rams beat the Giants 17-9. Did not play that well. Darrell Henderson was bottled up pretty well in this game, as was Brown. But the Giants don't have any offense. Jared Goff had a 55-yard touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp, which was the difference, really, as they improved to 3-1.
The story there was the Golden Tate, Jalen Ramsey.
The fight, right?
My goodness, those two dudes.
And supposedly Ramsey was waiting for Tate after the game. I don't know where he's waiting for.
Outside the locker room.
I thought everything was like kind of.
No, nothing ever happened.
Right.
But he was able to. But man, the on the field stuff, that could have gotten really ugly. I didn't know there was that bad blood there existed between those two the way it does.
Well, you know why, right?
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey. I guess it's Golden Tate's sister.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jalen Ramsey has 2 kids with her. And then he left her.
Yeah.
And it's.
I think she was pregnant at the time when he left her.
It is. Boy, those two dudes, they do not like each other.
Baltimore, Washington, the I-95 battle. I think it was a 14-point spread. It ends up a 14-point win for Baltimore. No big deal. Nothing to see there. Lamar Jackson had a couple of touchdown passes, a touchdown run. Dwayne Haskins threw for 314, but no touchdowns. Antonio Gibson, the former Tiger, with another touchdown. Houston and Minnesota with an interesting game. They were both 0-3. Houston's now 0-4. They lose at home to Minnesota 31-23. Dalvin Cook had a huge game. 27 carries, 130 yards, couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, he was one of my stars of my daily fantasy, but that's a problem. Those were actually Nick Chubb was my problem yesterday. Picked the wrong guy to go off against Dallas. I wasn't foreseeing him get hurt.
Deshaun Watson, 20 of 33, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, I put the blame on Bill O'Brien and the organization. They traded away Hopkins. Deshaun Watson needs some more weapons. He's a really good quarterback. My Colts over the Bears, 19-11. There's a low-scoring game finally. The Colts defense has been incredible. Both teams now 3-1. Colts had 289 total yards of offense, and the Bears at 269.
So, are you feeling conflicted?
No.
That the Colts shut down your
all.
pride and joy, Nick Foles?
Not at all.
Only the Colts defense could shut down the superstar Nick Foles. That's the way he's going to go with it.
I'm only feeling conflicted because my son wanted the Bears and I wanted the Colts on our little weekly thing that we do, and he won the argument, and we ended up taking the Bears, and I knew they were going to lose. Colts defense is incredible. It really. Phillip Rivers.
How could you know they were going to lose with Nick Foles at quarterback? He always wins, according to you.
Not against the Colts. Not again. Look, nobody's beating that Colts defense like the way they played yesterday. I mean, really, really strong.
As I told you, it would all be about the Colts defense rather than that Foles might just not be very good.
The whole game was about the Colts defense.
I think Colts offensive and defensive line. I mean, they're one of the best teams all around in the trenches out of anybody in the NFL.
I think so. And look, the stat that came down yesterday I think it was during the game, and so maybe it changed later in the game. But the Colts were the only team at that point to have not had a 3-and-out in the NFL this season. So that says a lot about Rivers, at least, being a calm quarterback, just does enough.
Well, he usually throws an interception before the third play. It's usually 1-and-out or 2-and-out.
Buffalo beat Vegas 30-23. I think you were on Vegas. I was on Vegas. And Buffalo goes to 4-0. My gosh. Josh Allen got hurt, came back. 2 touchdown passes, threw for 288. Derek Carr was pretty darn good for the Raiders, but not good enough. 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was 32 of 44, but Buffalo gets the road win.
I was on Vegas.
Didn't you pick Vegas? When we did our picks on Friday, we just kind of messed around and did some picks. I thought you liked Vegas too. Maybe you didn't. I thought you did. I picked Vegas. I absolutely did. And then Philly beat San Francisco 25-20. And this was one of those deals where, I'm sorry, if San Francisco had some healthy bodies, they win the game. They were in control. give credit to Philly. They scored a touchdown to go ahead on a Wentz touchdown pass, and then Alex Singleton with the pick six when Nick Mullins threw it right to him, and he ran it in. So they changed quarterbacks to C.J. Beathard. He leads them down the field to a score, and then they get the ball back. They actually force a punt from the Eagles, get the ball back, and they throw a desperation Hail Mary that got knocked away. And the Eagles end up winning. So your Philadelphia Eagles, your first-place team in the NFC East at 1-2-1. Congratulations, Philly.
That's right. That division. Whew. The Eagles have run 3 plays with the lead in the fourth quarter, and they're in first place. The Cowboys have not run a play this year with the lead in the fourth quarter.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Now, the Eagles have had a bunch of injuries. I mean, the whole receiving corps is hurt. These dudes are out. Jackson's out. Jeffrey's out. They have been besieged by injuries.
It's the NFL. Everybody's besieged by injuries.
That's true.
But George Kittle last night for that game
he had 15 catches?
Was unbelievable, man.
Welcome back.
I think he caught every target except for the only thing he didn't catch was the 2-point conversion. But that doesn't even count. That doesn't even count as a target. I think he made a catch every time he was targeted in the game.
Yeah, he's good. This just it. There are more ways to win than ever before on the FanDuel Fantasy app. From Daily Fantasy to new season-long contests, you can play for free or join paid games to compete for real cash prizes. Right now, FanDuel is giving new players 20% on their first deposit up to $500 in bonus credit that's added instantly into your new account. Enter now to play in Sunday's slate and single-game contests, or try your luck in Gridiron Pick'em. Just pick the winners of Sunday's NFL matchups correctly for your chance to earn up to $5,000 every week absolutely free. And when you win, FanDuel pays out your winnings in as little as 24 hours. If you haven't tried FanDuel yet, what the heck are you waiting for? Simply download the FanDuel Fantasy app today to get started and claim your deposit bonus of up to $500. Age and location-based restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com. We'll come back with our one final thing to wrap things up on this Monday edition of Middays right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
I'm here with outstanding team from Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Gary, tell everyone how they can experience the Lexus of Memphis satisfaction.
Come in and be a part of our family at Lexus of Memphis. Experience the customer service that we provide to each guest like a member of our own family. If you're on the side of the road and you need us, we're there. If you need help with anything with your car, technology, Bluetooth, the app suite, we have a dedicated team to help you with this in your journey with your Lexus.
That's how they do it at Lexus of Memphis.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So the weather is just all over the place lately, right? One day it's hot, and the next day it's windy for a while. It's like, make up your mind already. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
For the ones working tirelessly to keep their coworkers safe. For the ones rising to new challenges. For the ones rebuilding stronger than before. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, safety recovery guides, and 24/7 support. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Right now at the Home Depot, all Frigidaire wall ovens and cooktops are not only beautiful, they're 30% off. The Frigidaire Gallery wall ovens feature touch controls and Frigidaire's largest capacity. Some include air fry technology, and they all include free delivery. All the ingredients for a great kitchen. 30% off Frigidaire wall ovens and cooktops. Now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid through October 21st, U.S. only.
Commitment, dedication, perseverance. At FedEx, our people are our strength. Even during these unprecedented times, we are delivering medical supplies, test kits, and the things you need every day. Helping the world move forward together. Strength, what we deliver by delivering. FedEx.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to see how FedEx can help you start, grow, and efficiently manage your business. This hour is also brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
He was a hard-headed man. He was brutally handsome. She was terminally pretty.
For convenience, service, knowledge, and price, it's East Memphis Ace Hardware, acehardware.com online, where they offer free shipping, 901-683-8688. The phone number to call, open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 7, Sunday, 10 to 4, located at 5143 Quince Road. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Doug, one of our listeners, emailed me and said, you are correct. The Kentucky kicker doinked the ball off the upright, the right upright, on a field goal attempt. So he missed the field goal, and then, of course, he missed the critical extra point in overtime.
This is Coach O having his weekly press conference. Says he wishes he could go back and drop 8 and rush 3 against Mississippi State like Arkansas did. You think? You think you'd rather do that now?
So is that a knock on Pelini, who was so stubborn in the way he ran his defense? He wouldn't go to the zone, which basically is what Barry Odom did.
I think I don't know. I think it's O's obviously very involved in the defense as well. So I think it's just we screwed up. We did a poor job in defending that offense. In case you guys didn't notice, we did a really poor job because Arkansas made it look easy.
Yeah, it's not like you had tape going into the game. You didn't know how KJ Costello looks with a new coach in Mike Leach, the air raid, but as the game went along, you think you would make adjustments, and they certainly didn't. By the way, the polls came out yesterday, and as expected, Memphis did drop out of both polls. In the AP poll, UCF dropped out, Mississippi State dropped out. In the coaches poll, Memphis and Mississippi State dropped out, but UCF hung in there at number 25. Memphis is getting 35 votes in the coaches, and they're getting 12 in the AP. Ole Miss got 18 votes this week in the AP poll. Mississippi State, 112.
Fleet Feet, the place to go to get all your running gear. You want to get shoes just right for you. Go see the folks at Fleet Feet, either one of their 2 locations in East Memphis in the Laurelwood Shopping Center and out in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levy. Right there next to the Hueys. Those are the 2 locations. You can go see them. They'll take a look at the way you run or walk, get you fitted in shoes just right for you. Plus, they've got all the other gear that you would ever possibly need at the 2 locations of Fleet Feet, also online at fleetfeetmemphis.com. Time for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
These are updated odds to win the college football playoff from Bet Online. Clemson is still your favorite at 2-1. Ohio State hasn't played a game yet, 11-4, and Alabama's 13-4. That's pretty good odds for Alabama. I think Alabama's looked the best of the teams I've seen, and they're behind Ohio State. Okay, it's understandable that Clemson is the favorite, but 13-4. Georgia's 12-1. Florida, 14-1. Penn State hasn't played, 28-1. Oregon, 33-1. They haven't played. Michigan hasn't played. They're 40-1. Now, Notre Dame, undefeated. They've dealt with their own COVID-19 situation there in South Bend. They're 40-1. And you have to go down to 125. Where is it? 125-1 to find 100-1 to find Tennessee. 100-1. Of course, Tennessee with a huge one this week against Georgia. Are they ready? Are they at that point yet to overtake the East, to overtake Georgia and Florida? I don't know quite yet. I think they still need some more hosses there in the on on the hill. And then Memphis, after losing to SMU, their odds now, it's still pretty high, 150-1 for Memphis to win the college football playoff. Thought it would be 1,000-1. 151-1 for Memphis to win the college football playoff.
And I got two stats from the NFL that I just find one is amazing to me, and I can't believe I never knew this stat because it's actually a little older. But this one I give credit to Tim Cowlishaw for. He tweeted out, "The Cowboys have lost as many games since Mike McCarthy arrived as the Packers have lost since he left." Packers are 16-3 since he left. The Cowboys are 1-3 with him.
Wow.
This is an amazing statistic, and I did not know this, but I was reading an ESPN article about their game this week, and they talked about this. So Derek Carr, after last season, that was his 6th year in the NFL, and he had 55 losses as a starting quarterback through his first 6 years.
Okay.
Which is the second most all time. One behind the record of 56, held by his brother, David Carr.
The brothers Carr.
So what are the odds that you could have any statistic in the world that the two leaders in that statistic are two brothers? That is an amazing thing that would happen. In any way in the world that would happen, that the top two guys in most losses in their first 6 years of the NFL as a starting quarterback just happen to be brothers.
That's something they don't like to bring up at Thanksgiving.
I was blown away that's at least Derek's dude, you got 56. I didn't catch you.
That's true. That's true. Big thanks to Barrett Salih for joining us on the program today. Tomorrow, Jeff Crane from the University of Memphis. We'll talk college football with Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. We'll have our NFL 3 stars from week number 4. 2.5 questions, Humdinger's trivia, and our 5 favorite songs topic tomorrow is the word better. Make sure better is in the title of your song. Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio is coming up next. For Eli Savoy and Gabe Kuhn, I'm Greg Gaston. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody.
The world's gone to hell, and we're sure gonna miss it a lot. All of the whiskey in Lynchburg, Tennessee.